Good afternoon, everyone. This is Cody and welcome to the New Year's Eve edition of Do It Live. We're so excited to have you in, and Nick was happy to share the co-pilot seat, so I've got my co-host, a new face on the show. Thank you for helping me on the show, Sabrina.
Hi, everyone. To bring in the new year, we decided to center our show around the theme of creativity, but that begs the question, what is creativity? Well, to create is to cause something to exist or to make something new or imaginative.
The end of the year is a time for reflection and imagining the possibilities in the future. We're going to showcase some amazing talent in autonomy to help inspire you for 2023, and we've got 8 inspirational guests with us here today. That does mean we'll be rolling through them pretty quick, but we'll have a couple brief sections for the audience to give their feedback. So without further ado, here's our first guest.
Our first guest is Onyx. She's a comedy improviser, playwright, and a life coach, and joined Autonomy in season 8. In the spirit of spontaneity and flow, Onyx will be performing an improvisation monologue for us today. Feel free to introduce yourself, Onyx, and take it away whenever you're ready.
Sabrina, thank you. Cody, thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm so excited to share the improv heart with you. I think improv is an amazing tool for growth and fun, and I hope after today you all want to try it if you haven't already. So for my improvised monologue, I'm going to ask you for the made-up name of a character, please.
Philippe.
Say again?
Philippe.
Philippe. Okay. And what is a problem that Philippe has?
Got a flat tire.
Okay. And what's an important relationship in Philippe's life?
His mom.
His mom. Okay. Thank you, everyone. So this is my first time doing it in this way. I guess I'm going to turn my camera off and then come back as Philippe. Okay. So bye, as Onyx. See you soon. Oh, man. Yeah. I don't really know how to ask for help, so I'm just gonna yeah, so there's the situation I have outside. I don't know if you can see over there, the car, the blue one right there. Yeah, so there's a situation there, and I need to get somewhere, and I need to help my mom out. And basically, the thing about my mom and why it's really important for me to get there really is because, well, you know, my mom was a rockette, and she broke her leg when she was 25. And, you know, she had me soon after that. And I kind of, you know, came out in a twisted way. And I guess that's why I'm a little bit weird. Sorry, I don't know you. I always do this. I always tell my life story to people I don't know. All I'm saying is I have a flat tire and I need help. And I don't know how to ask for that. So yeah, I mean, I guess I just did indirectly ask for help changing my flat tire, but not in a direct way. Yeah, so I was telling you about my mom too. Yeah, so she broke her leg, and then it came out kind of twisted, and then her leg got better, but she's like, she was dancing with a broken leg, so I don't know. And then, you know, did I make her fall and break her leg? I think I did. I think maybe that was me, and I feel really bad about it. And so I wanted to go there New Year's Eve and kind of spend it with her and tell her, you know, Mom, I'm really sorry. But then my tire got flat and I had to, you know, come into the 7-Eleven and ask you for help really indirectly and tell you my life story, and Happy New Year. So I hope that I mean, I hope you have healthy relationships with your family and that you have really cool adventures in this year, and that you don't accidentally break someone's leg from within the womb. But I mean, obviously you're obviously not, I mean, that's not a thing that can actually happen, but I mean, even just spiritually or metaphorically, that you don't kind of inhabit some liminal or figurative creative space and then cause someone harm directly or indirectly in some way that then has an adverse effect on their personal growth and development, and perhaps even their parenting style. And maybe what I'm trying to say here is that I don't really have really great interpersonal skills, because my mom never taught me how to change a flat tire. But I mean, is that her job? I don't know. And then, you know, I was left alone a lot. So yeah. Well, I think the best thing for me actually to do is just to run to my mom's, because I can't really, this is really very awkward for me. And I think that if I just run there, I think it'll just be a lot better. So I'm just going to leave my car there, that car right there. I'm just going to leave it there. And I mean, if you want to change, I mean, you can change the tire if you want, but if you also just want to, I mean, you can get it towed. You can do whatever you want with it, really. I mean, it's my car, but it doesn't have to be my car, because I think I'm just going to, that car out there, do what you want with it. Because I'm just going to go and I'm going to run. It's about 7 miles, but that's okay. I'm going to run to tell my mom I'm sorry that I broke her leg when I was in the womb, and maybe that I meant to do that, and maybe I, you know, I mean, yeah. Thank you, and Happy New Year, and yeah, my name's Philippe. Cool. Okay, great. Bye.
Yay.
Hey.
That was awesome to watch. Just the awkward energy of just a hi, I've got this you know, the way that you kept, you know, scooting out of the way to shoot the car. That was beautiful. I loved it. And it's just, you pulled it out of nowhere. It was intriguing to watch just something like that, where it's, you know, the spirit of do it live.
Thank you, Cody. So that, I didn't realize I was off mute, and that sound of was me knowing that I have a red beret in the closet to be Philippe, a French red beret wearing man. But I knew I didn't have the time to go get it, and so I started going and then realized it was off mute, and then thought, okay, well then this has to be the character. So I totally threw myself off.
It didn't even feel like you threw yourself off. Like the ums and ahs just felt natural. Like you were a very like, I have a situation. How do I do this? How do I ask for help? You know, like it didn't feel like you were struggling to come up with what to say next. It felt like you were selling the character of, you know, awkward help.
Wow. Onyx, thank you so much. We have around time for maybe just a few very quick comments or feedback, and we can move on to our next guest. Does anyone want to give a brief shout out to Onyx or have a question or a comment?
Onyx, that was pretty awesome. I really enjoyed it. Is that your first time doing a improvised monologue?
So it was a bit of a specialty for me when I would improvise plays, but this is the first such context here. And there was always obviously other characters to play with. And so, yeah, this was a very new experience for me.
Cool. It was fun. Thank you.
Thank you.
Onyx, I would just like to say, I would really love to play some improv with you.
Let's do
this.
it.
Love it. I'm in. Yes, please.
Yeah, Onyx, that was a great
Relay.
job. I really, yeah. What's the next step? So how do we make this a thing? I feel
You
like
don't have to think about it, dude.
Yeah, I feel like this is I feel like this is a really good, valuable thing that we could all collaborate on. Improv group, improv class, like that'd be fun.
Yeah.
Let's make
let's
it
do
an
it.
event.
Let's do it.
Yeah, I could certainly get some interesting character ideas.
Gives people a lot of courage, it takes a lot of bravery and courage to be out there like that. So thank you for inspiring all of us today, Onyx. That was really amazing.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, because it kind of been my big question of, like what advice do you have for those who are afraid to do improv?
So what I like to tell people is that everyone is an improviser. If you've ever had a conversation, if you've ever kind of made a joke in the moment, made someone laugh, connected with someone, then you have all the skills of an improviser. And it's just managing that fear of having to perform or be funny or intelligent or be interesting on stage. That's what people are afraid of. I think, well, that's mostly what I hear people are afraid of. And so my advice essentially to people is just to do it and to keep doing it until it feels natural. Because it will at some point. I mean, I was very nervous before this started. So, but that's part of being alive. So to not be afraid of that feeling and to tell yourself, okay, this is awesome because this means I'm doing something that I'm kind of afraid of that's outside my comfort zone. And the worst thing that can happen is that nobody likes it. And that's not the end of the world, really, at all.
Yeah, it becomes a learning experience for you in a way.
Awesome.
It's something that when the worst thing that can happen to you is you learn.
Yeah.
Great job, Onyx.
Thanks, Jerry.
Yeah, and I guess I'll just ask, how'd you get involved in theater?
So I started doing plays when I was about 14 or 15. And actually the friend I'm living with right now was my drama teacher in high school. And when I was 15, she kind of got me into the adult theater world. So near the, my last years of high school, I was doing lots of theater. And I started improvising in I have no sense of linear time. I know I say that all the time, but 2018, I think. 2016, 2018, something like that. And so I had all this theater background. So granted, it was easier for me in a way to get into improv. But once I kind of dipped my toe into that world, I didn't do another play at all.
Yeah, you just like the more spontaneous nature more than the
Yeah, I mean, so I'm a playwright as well. And there's something, in my last group that I was with for 2-3 years, we would improvise plays. And it was like all the favorite parts for me about the theater coming together. And once I was doing that, I didn't feel a draw to necessarily perform in plays anymore.
Onyx, who's your favorite improv actor? I like Ryan.
So I mean, there's really a soft spot in my heart for John Sessions in the old school Whose Line Is It Anyway? I grew up, I really wanted to be a British when I was young. He wasn't a great listener though. I mean, he was hilarious, but not a great listener, so.
All right, Onyx, thank you so very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Let's give a round of applause for Onyx. Okay.
Yeah, and up next, second on our list, we've got a season 7 graduate, and his name's Phoenix, and he enjoys his spray painting, video editing, coaching, catering, and creating content that is thought-provoking and encourages individuals to know themselves and seek self-improvement. And today, Phoenix is going to share with us his video editing project he's made in collaboration with Bob's Antidotes. Feel free to introduce yourself and your project.
Hey, everybody. So Bob first approached me. I think Michael actually approached me. Michael Nimitz, a season 1 or 2 grad, about helping out with the antidote and being a host and MC for his presentation that took place a few weeks ago. And since then, I've developed a few different intros and videos and a few different versions of the antidote. I actually finished a newest version today that has incorporated a lot of the stereophonic techniques that Bob had wanted to incorporate into the audio track. Now, I don't know necessarily the hypnotic usefulness of what I added to it, but it was more of an experiment to see if it could be done. So Bob and Mike have the absolutely brand newest version, and there has been 2 sessions so far as development sessions, and I've got a video that I can show you guys that is the intro for the development sessions. So if you're interested, Cody, I'd like to play that. It's about 1.5 minutes.
Sweet. Roll the clip.
Some will have heard it discussed as mass formation psychosis.
The term mass formation psychosis
mass formation.
Mass formation works via a form of hypnosis, which literally puts people's right brain hemisphere to sleep.
What's the way out of this mass formation?
Well, you know, mass formation is a kind of hypnosis. It's induced by the voice. It's an extremely strong phenomenon. It focuses all the attention on one point, which, just like in hypnosis, makes people unaware of the rest of reality, of everything that is outside their narrow focus of attention. Once you understand that mass formation and hypnosis are identical, the only thing you can do when mass formation emerges is
So that was the antidote, or at least the intro that I've made for the previous session, session 2, and all future developmental sessions. So it really gave me an opportunity to go through and find some decent B-roll footage, as well as gave me an opportunity to work on working within DaVinci Resolve's Fusion to create the actual 3D antidote title screen, and that was a lot of fun. And I'm really happy with how it came out. And of course, I had to, since Bob's down in Mexico, I had to pull a video of Acapulco Bay as the background video for it.
That was great, Phoenix.
Yeah, I definitely noticed that. But I just wanted to say, Phoenix, you've been, I mean, you know, it's really been a discovery of quite a few talents that you've had over the past, I don't know, month or so, because you came to Autonomy Toasters and made a presentation and just kind of blew us away, you know, with your ability. And it's just been, you know, it just keeps, every week you keep doing something new and exciting. So I'm thrilled that you're being featured here, because I think you're definitely, you know, really adding to, you know, what Bob is doing, what we're doing, certainly what, you know, what we want to do with autonomy. You know, we want to really allow people to you know, to grow into the people that they have the potential of being. And you're being a great example.
Well, I've lived my life over the last 10 years with this, in this mass formation, really with a sense of urgency in order to do whatever I can to change the world. So like, really for me, it's about the message behind what Bob's created here with the antidote. I think it's hugely powerful and has the potential to do a lot of good in the world. And I'm really just looking forward to getting that out and fully established and get all of the testing data back, because what we're doing right now is we're in the middle of testing 9 different versions, and I guess it's going to be 11 with the 2 most recent versions that I created, the one today and then the one last night. And I've got another version as well that I want to throw in with, as instead of the background being the 528 hertz binaural beats, I want to try one with the just nature sounds and maybe a little bit of Japanese flute. And really the idea is to get as much data behind the hypnotic effects, both positive and, I personally think that there's got to be some type of negative effects to it. I don't know. I'm maybe call me a pessimist, but anytime you're messing with hypnosis, there's got to be unintended consequences somewhere. So I'm really looking forward to, over the next 6 months or so, getting data sets back for each of the versions from all of the volunteers that we had. And through Autonomy, we've had a lot of volunteers for the project as well. You know, Jerry stepped up to help out with social media posting. Judy, as long as her schedule will allow, has stepped up to do volunteer management, so tracking the data sets that we get from the volunteers that are actually listening, and then the volunteers themselves, the individuals that are actually going at home, listening to this at irregular intervals through daily use, and then tracking and recording the effects that it has on their lives. That's really, I think, where the value and the growth and the change is going to come from with this project.
Yeah, and you've gotten this whole crew together working on this project. You know, it was just you and it was just Bob and Michael at first working on this, and they got you to do some video editing, and you're gathering more people, and you're getting this going. You're getting this project going. You know, and you mentioned that the 10 years that you spent with the mass formation, then it's important to you, and you got the excuses out of the way and just went for it.
Yeah, and it's a daily struggle. Like, I spend, I think, far too much time still procrastinating. With as much as I've been doing, I still feel like, oh my God, I'm still wasting so much time. There's so much more I could be doing. And it seems like I spend 20 hours a day down here in this little cubicle, but it's worth it because, we're creating something that's useful. And that's really what I'm hoping will come from this project. So that someone, even, and it's so cliche, even if it's just one life, we're going to just change one person, wake one person up from the matrix. Who knows what that one person can go on to do in other people's lives. So, that's the goal of Autonomy. And I'm sure that's, what Rich has been trying to build here as well. And hopefully I can just add to that value and help inspire more individuals. So, the work and the results is what it's really about.
Yeah, you wake up one influencer, you've got 1 million people like woken up from that or more.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think that video clip really showed the mass formation, because the things that people were doing, you can really see, oh, that looks ridiculous. But when you're actually doing it, or when people are actually doing it, it just seems normal. Because everyone's doing it around you, it just can look like, oh, that's what people are doing now.
Yeah, I mean, and that really just plays into the whole definition of what mass formation is. Those 3 criteria that Matthias Desmet laid out, being that you believe in it so much that you're willing to self-sacrifice to an extreme degree and just allow yourself to be eaten alive by wolves for the greater good. And it's all just manipulation and lies. It's all based on fear and being really isolated in your heart and in your thoughts and in your mind and your community. And the powers that be, they've been working on that stuff for a very, very, very long time. They know what they're trying to do. They've studied it for 100+ years. Thanks, those Freud's nephew's name, that
Bernays.
jerk.
Bernays.
Thank you,
Bernays.
Edward Bernays. Thanks, Eddie. Literally wrote the book on it, and since then it's been a full tilt sprint towards the end of the road, which is, as we're seeing now, a complete top-down technocratic dictatorship, as they would say in the World Economic Forum circles and in the Davos groups. So whatever we can do to wake people up and get it through that, this is real. It's not a conspiracy theory. They're living this out. They're doing it right in front of your face. They're not hiding it anymore. They're laughing about it. The closer we are to getting to a world where I don't have to be concerned that my kids are going to be arrested on the side of the road for open carrying a firearm or saying naughty words.
Not wearing a mask.
Yeah, not wearing a mask, exactly.
Yeah, not having that vaccine passport with you, they're trying to push on everybody.
Not wanting to use CBDCs.
Oh yeah, that's another good one.
Phoenix, I loved the build up to the end of that experience, because he says, and the only thing we can do is, and I was like, what? I don't know if anybody else felt that way, but I thought that's the perfect way to end it, because we want to know what happens next.
Yeah, I felt that way too. That was awesome.
I have to give a shout out to Stefano. He really helped me to make some adjustments to that track, and that was his suggestion, was to pull out the ending of where he explains it, and just leave it as a cliffhanger, because the antidote is one of the answers. It's one of the methods that we can use. And Bob has a problem with the way that Matthias formed the solution, because the way Matthias Desmet stated it was speak up, speak out, and speak truth to power. But there's so much more to it, because mass formation exists on more than just a conscious level. It's a very subconscious aspect as well. And in order to overcome that subconscious aspect, you have to speak to the subconscious mind on that level.
I have a question. Is mass formation psychosis possible on someone who is capable of critical thinking?
I think so, yes. I think I've been subject to it, because I think it really exists in the spaces where we don't pay attention, where we think we're most comfortable, where we think that we've got it all figured out. That's where we can have our biases come up, and we overlook trying to think critically. I know that with all of the research and the stuff that I've looked at, being an anarcho-capitalist, that's the only way to go. It's having, I think that in and of itself is a level of mass formation as well. It's a compartmentalization of your own mind and your own thoughts in order to exclude anything that's not anarcho-capitalist. And there's so much out there that's not violent and aggressive and manipulative, that's not anarcho-capitalistic. There's so much out there, so the idea that individuals within the liberty space could be impervious from confirmation bias or groupthink is ridiculous to me. I think we're all absolutely susceptible to every level of formation, of every level of group formation, including mass formations. And I really wish Bob was here, because he'd have a much better intelligent response.
I would just add to that, that the mass formation is kind of a new terminology, and there's other terms that come before that. One might be called a consensus trance, and to a large degree, that's kind of where people have been put into boxes, where like the education system has kind of siloed people into particular boxes and kind of belief systems. And to a large degree, when it comes to the fear of public speaking, a lot of that probably is contributing to, or is kind of an indicator of this consensus trance, where when you're trying to speak outside of what is acceptable is a place that that people have fears or doubts or uncertainty about. That is that could be basically another version of this, and so there's a bigger thing here, which is this idea that a lot of people have been put into particular beliefs about particular things, and like if you look at all the different occupations out there that are kind of going down the wrong path and going into unethical areas and are doing it without questioning those things, it's probably because of these consensus trance.
I think personally, I think you're all right about different options and different answers. For me, the antidote is autonomy, and the whole process of learning how to think and for yourself, because this whole concept of my free will is being hijacked by an external force, that doesn't sit comfortably with me, and I think that's just a convenient excuse for the masses.
Well, I would say that that's kind of one of the easiest forms of hypnosis is really just repetition. So in a lot of cases, just because our subconscious is really about 95% of our behavior, in a lot of cases we don't have filters yeah, and I think you're right that there's, what we don't filter with our conscious mind is really subject to just being programmed into our subconscious mind. And so that's kind of one of the things that, yeah, if we have a bigger group with a lot of different opinions and a lot of different, ideas about a lot of different things, that gives us a much better chance, broader chance to really kind of identify what the real risks are and eliminate the kind of the irrational behavior that is going on. But for the most part, that is not what's taking place. We've all kind of witnessed this through the institutions and the media and everything else that have kind of created the circumstances where there's acceptable behavior and there's unacceptable behavior, and there's no real rational determination to why that is, other than it's just been repeated over and over again.
Exactly.
Hey,
That
Phoenix, I
was
wanted to give you some
beautiful.
feedback about your video there, man. That was really, really good. I really appreciate that. I was working with a really awesome editor recently. Actually, her name's Becca. She does all of Derek Brose's Pyramid of Power. She does all the editing for that. If you guys have ever seen that, she's like top notch, like in terms of like, stylistic stuff. And one of the things she showed me that was a real game changer, especially for like short, like trailers or like short videos like that, where it's like high energy, trying to convey a message, is just like to stylize it is adding like glitch effects and like, like static effects over the top to kind of like make it more visually engaging. And one of the tricks she showed me is like, if you just go to YouTube, they have these things called green screen glitches. So basically just type in like green screen glitches and you can download the video. And then in your video editor, you just make the green screen like your alpha channel or whatever, and it eliminates the green and just leaves the static over the top. You know what I mean? And it just makes it like just kind of more engaging and stylistic, and especially for like transitions and stuff like that. So I've incorporated that in some of the stuff I've done, and it's really kind of a cool trick I found. And then also, if you just type in like they have all these pre-made assets as well. I don't know if you've messed with that at all, but if you just type in like you said, you use DaVinci, like DaVinci assets, transitions and stuff. They have like pre-made motion graphics and stuff like that you can upload and incorporate into your editing tricks too. And so, one of my goals is to learn like After Effects, to learn how to create those, but they already have a whole bunch that are pre-made. And they also have like Avanto, I think it's called. Anyway, you can pay like a subscription and get, yeah. You know what I'm talking about. So you get access to all kinds of different like pre-made transitions and assets and stuff like that. So anyway, man, I was just saying that was a game changer for me. So, oh, and then also I made this connection. You're going to get a kick out of this. I forgot that we met at Float Fest. Does this look familiar? Yes,
it absolutely does.
Yes.
I recognize that.
There you go. So yeah, dude. So I got this from you at Float Fest. So
Nice.
thank you. Yeah.
Awesome.
You're very
Bringing
welcome,
all the folks together.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Phoenix. That was so awesome for your video, and just brought so much thoughtful conversation. And I'm looking forward to hearing, the project and what's going to happen in the future with the antidote and everything. So thank you.
Yeah, one last quick thing is, where can people find the antidote?
So I am posting the antidote. The file itself is being kept within the autonomy community until the final version is available. It'll probably be about a 6-month process, but the antidote development sessions are being posted to my Odyssey channel at Phoenix Aurora, or no, I'm sorry, I renamed it to Phoenix Fire Media. So odyssey.com/Phoenix Fire Media.
Awesome.
And that's ODYSEE.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on, Phoenix.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, and up next, we've got a digital artist and anime fan from season 5. So let's welcome to the show, Mohammed. It's great to have you on. And I know you've got your poster for the show, Code Geass. And did I pronounce that correctly?
Code Geass.
Sweet, I got it right. And yeah, so feel free to introduce yourself and your relationship with anime.
Hello, guys. My name is Muhammad Abdul Ghaffar. Been in since season 5. I am a huge anime fan. I am what is called an otaku, and I like to wholeheartedly recommend this show to everyone in autonomy. But I'm going to share my screen. Share. Just one moment. Here we go. This episode of an anime called Code Geass. And the plot of this show is that it's about a fallen prince named Lelouch V. Britannia, whose mother is killed and who gains a superpower known as the Geass, which is basically a superpowered form of hypnosis that grants the user absolute obedience. He's able to use absolute obedience on any person. And in the series is referred to as the power of kings, because the Geass is a power that was specifically designed for rulers to use. And for this anime, I made a poster to illustrate the idea of the show.
Ooh.
So Lelouch V. Britannia, after he receives the power known as the Geass, he realizes the implications of it and seeks to destroy the Holy Britannian Empire. And in the anime, the Holy Britannian Empire is basically the British Empire. And the story is set in an alternate universe where the Britannian Empire won the American Revolution. So in other words, America does not exist in this universe, and Britannia, they control 1/3 of the entire world. And this character seeks to destroy it using this new power of hypnosis known as the Geass.
Wow, it's really amazing, Mohammed.
Thank you.
And there's a lot of detail, and you can really see that just tracing along the world, extending to all corners.
How long have you been doing this for?
Well, the poster for several hours, but I've been an artist all my life. I've been an anime fan all my life. And since I've been in autonomy, I've gained an overwhelming amount of information about what's going on in the world. And for the past several years, I've been struggling to synthesize what I've learned with my interest of anime, art making, creativity. And I'm glad you guys are having this conversation about the antidote and improv, because Code Geass is a show. It's an incredibly deep show that explores the topics of mind control, information warfare, imperialism, etc. And in the show, the Geass is referred to as the power of kings, because this is the power of absolute obedience that was specifically made for rulers, because rulers are those who are supposed to lead their people. And so the story delves into what it means to rule, what it means to have free will, but also the idea of mask, of how lies can shape our world. So I think that the Geass is a visual representation of not only hypnosis, but also this power of being able to tap into the subconscious of human beings in order to achieve the impossible, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, it's almost kind of like what the government kind of does, kind of turned up to 11, essentially, where they got put people in front of this TV box, get basically absolute control. This is just turn it up to 11, make it literal.
I'm trying to make sense of all this as I'm talking about it, because it's a radical idea, but as an artist, I personally believe that art is quite literally magic, that everything that you can call it creativity or art or whatever, but I feel as though creativity also implies magic. It's the ability to make something to attract attention or someone's focus. And even though in the show, the Geass is a superpower form of hypnosis that is used in the eyes, I feel like art, media, language, all of those things are Geass, that they are hypnosis. They are they can be used for mind control, but they're also magic. Because for me, magic is the ability of taking an idea and 3D printing it into reality, if you get what I mean, to create something that did not previously exist. And I think it's fascinating how humans are able to create something that did not exist and manifest it into the world and to corral humanity's attention and focus. I like when you really think about it, that's a really, it's baffling and exciting how humans are capable of doing that. And even though we don't have Gios in our eyes, our Gios is our words, our language, our paintings, our films, anime, video games, even dance. All forms of art, I believe, are magic. All forms of art can consolidate attention and focus and energy.
I love your philosophy behind your artwork. I love that. It's really great. Does anyone have any other comments or?
I do. Two to three comments. First of all, since we saw each other last time, Mohammed, I've been watching Hunter x Hunter. Haven't gotten through it. Hisoka's really cool, and the thing in the eyes. I'm on the second season, so the Ren 10 men, whatever, is neat. Yeah. The other thing, I don't know if anybody has had a chance to talk to Mo yet, but he's got a pretty cool superpower. He's taught himself Japanese in a couple of months, and he's got a really neat technique to do it. I challenged him to make a course on how to quickly learn a language like you have. It's very neat. Yeah, I haven't gotten into this new show yet, but yeah. Do you know where I could find one that's translated into English? Because it's kind of the thing that I watch at the end of the night. So like reading while I'm doing like exercises or something like that. Like I don't know if.
I've posted the website already, but I can post it again. It's called Zoro, ZORO.TO.
Oh, okay. I thought that was just in Japanese. I didn't see whether or not I had English translation.
Actually, if you want to watch it in English, then you can find it on Crunchyroll, it's a subscription-based anime service. But I love Hisoka is my favorite character.
Back to the sushi conversation. Crunchyroll.
Yes, definitely. That's where it came from.
That's great.
Ohayo gozaimasu. Watakushi wa Joy desu.
どういたしまして、私の名前はモハメットです。よろしくお願いします。
Hi. So you said you are an otaku? I don't know what that means.
Basically an otaku, like stripping away the Japanese connotations. An otaku is basically someone who's obsessed with a particular hobby, but most notably anime, video games, and Japanese comics. But it can be an obsession with any hobby.
Neat. Thank you.
Huh. I actually never considered it before that otaku just means obsessed with anything in particular, not just specifically with anime.
Yeah, there are military otaku, there are maid otaku, tech otaku, librarian otakus. It's like everyone is an otaku. It's just an obsession, an obsession with whatever you're interested in.
Yeah, and that certainly caught my eye that you learned how to speak Japanese in just a few months. And just, do you have any quick things to say about that?
Oh yeah, certainly. We can go on for hours about that. But basically, the idea is basically everything that you like to do in your native language, you do in your target language. So I'm someone that does not believe in no pain, no gain, or this idea that in order to attain anything worthwhile in life, you have to go through suffering and pain. I honestly think that's all nonsense. To me, there's no such thing as delayed gratification. There is only engineered gratification. The idea is to choose where you get your dopes. And how humans have always been learning language is through their immersion environment. But since we have new technologies like the internet and films and anime and video games, since we have all this new media, all these new technologies, you can construct your own artificial immersion environment. So, and this is not only just for language, this is for pretty much any activity. So I'm an artist, I draw, and I immerse in Japanese every day. So my environment, I use video games and anime to get better at drawing and anime and immersion. So I watch anime with Japanese subtitles, and I put those subtitles into a flashcard deck. But with drawing, I use my PlayStation 4 and I play video games that have photo modes, because developers are starting to put photo modes into video games nowadays. So right now I'm playing a game called Devil May Cry 5, which has a photo mode. And so every day I get off of work, I play Devil May Cry 5 and I turn on the photo mode. And that's literally how I learn anatomy. It's like I'm literally playing video games to get better at drawing. Oh, who would have thought? And that's what I do. Yeah. The idea is engineer graphication. You basically have to create your own environment. You have to create those. It's all habit formation. It's not. Yeah, it's all habit formation. It's engineered graphication.
I'm an old fart. What is photo mode?
Photo mode or diorama mode is the ability to move around a free camera in a video game and put the characters in all sorts of poses and lighting conditions.
So you got a virtual like 3D man, like Ovalman sort of deal.
Yeah, exactly. Basically that.
Well, Mohammed, yeah, that's so amazing. Thank you for sharing your artwork today and for your philosophy. I really learned a lot about you and also about your art. And I think it's well needed in this time, kind of these themes of hypnosis and, art and creativity. And, I heard that if you want to change a people, you have to do it through the culture, which includes art, which includes, like you were saying, dance and media. So yeah, thank you for sharing yourself today and your art. It's really, really a treat for us.
My pleasure. And if the last thing I want to add is that as we're talking about psychosis, I feel as though more and more people need to understand anime culture, because there's a lot of mass formation psychosis going on in anime culture. And I feel in order for older generations to understand the young people and our current societal problems, we need to understand art on a deeper level, but especially anime, because it's not just Japanese cartoons. It's a cultural movement in the same way that the Italian Renaissance was. And I'll leave it at that.
Wow.
Oh, leave us on a cliffhanger.
I just got to add one thing, and that is in the preparation for autonomy, you'll find 14 themes from John Taylor Gatto of the elite schools curriculum that you don't get in public school. And one of those is the power of accurate observation and recording. And essentially the way to do that is through art and drawing. So Mohammed, you are an amazing dude.
I try. Thank you guys for having me.
Well, speaking of art and drawing, our next artist is the youngest member of Autonomy, and she joined in season 8. Jillian is interested in painting, sculpting, and jewelry making. And today she's going to be sharing with us some of her paintings. We do have a pre-recorded interview. If you'd like to see the full interview, we're going to post it on the forum after the Do It Live. This is going to be an abbreviated version. So let's roll the clip.
Don't mind me, we are having some minor technical difficulties and trying to figure out where I put it. Here it is.
Wouldn't be Do It Live without it.
Yep, would not be Do It Live without this.
This is where everyone pays attention.
Well, hi, Julianne. It's nice to meet you.
Hi, it's nice to meet you too.
Thank you so much for sharing your artwork today, your paintings, and I'm just so excited to learn about your art. And
so, my road to excellency by me. So this is my first painting that I did. I was 5 years old when I made this painting. I still remember painting this painting.
It looks like a Picasso.
Yeah. Yeah. So
I really like the colors. Yeah, I like the colors.
Thank you. This is when I started actually trying with acrylic. This is my first, like, I'll say official acrylic painting I did.
Wow. that background is, I mean, gorgeous. And the detail of the dragon with his horns and his face is so much detail.
Yeah. My teacher actually helped me like teach me a little bit of how to do the detail. So he like did an area I look and then I copied and try to do as best as I had my ability. So yeah. So this is 2 more acrylic paintings I did. The one on the left is brush technique, and then the one right is knife work technique. So I just use knife.
That's really neat. Yeah, you can see the difference between the lion, where the strokes look a lot more frayed and kind of wispy, and then the nature where it's kind of more staccato and choppy.
Yeah.
But I think that fits really nice with the winter, right? Kind of
Yeah.
exact.
When I started learning watercolor, I worked with the wife. Her name is Color. And once I started getting into acrylic, the first painting I did was this one with Shao, which is his husband. And he's very picky. He chooses who he wants to work with. So I was lucky enough to be able to work with him. Because he is very picky. Do know that.
Do you still talk to them at all till today, or?
Yes, I still work with them. Yeah, even though I don't because when I worked with them, I was in Canada, but now in Mexico, so it's kind of harder. So I bought some stuff to kind of help me work with them again a bit better.
And do you feel having teachers and mentors really made a big difference for you?
Yeah, very big difference. My mentor, he criticized my work a lot. So at first, I got very upset. Later on, I started to criticize myself on my paintings to kind of improve on myself. So yeah, it's kind of, yeah, I'm on go.
Taking the criticism as a way to elevate your art.
Yeah.
Right.
So I did learn that, and I take criticism of who I want to take. Because if I were to take it to somebody that doesn't know anything about painting, then I don't see the value in it. But if I know there's an artist that does a lot of painting, then I'll take it more seriously because they do know. This first oil painting, I actually cried in the middle of the progress when I was painting, and I really didn't want to continue painting it. I got upset because of the face. I wasn't happy with the face. But it's good because I learned while doing the progress. I learned that I have to keep working. I cried a lot too because the acrylic and oils, they're very different too. They're different mediums. So it's kind of, oil takes longer to dry. So it's kind of like everything is already wet. I can't fix it until I can sometimes, but I can't really fix it up because I have to wait for it to dry. So I got very frustrated. So I just cried.
Oh,
so, yeah. My next oil painting is elephants, which, as you see, I improved a lot more. I did this one was a gift from my mom. She likes elephants. That's her favorite animal. So yeah.
I love the detail on the trunk.
Thank you. Yeah, this painting is what I learned to actually make detail, to make texture. This is when I started to learn texture because I used to only want to make paintings like flat, no strokes of texture, no nothing.
You could see the trunk. It almost feels like if you touch it, you could feel how rough it would be.
This is the next one, the third oil painting I did. This is a wolf. I really like fur. I really like the fur. I'm learning that skin is hard, but fur, I enjoy doing the strokes and stuff. A lot of detail. My fourth oil painting. This was when my teacher that criticized my work a lot said, Shao, he said this is university level. Yeah, I got very, I think I also cried a little bit on this painting, just trying to fix the water I had a lot of trouble with the water because painting water's clear. How do you paint something that's clear? And my teacher wouldn't tell me. I just had to figure it out. So I got very frustrated on this painting too. And this is my favorite painting I've done to this day.
The colors of the blue and the black and the purple and green and just all these different subtle colors that you could see in his coat, and the lighting on it, the lighting and the overall picture. And yeah, it's really beautiful.
This is the most recent painting I've done. It's a portrait. I am learning how to paint humans. So I was really debating to share my paintings of human because I haven't had a lot of practice. So, but I wanted to share it because, well, I'm still learning. And I'm glad I am still learning because I can't be perfect, but I can get close eventually.
I just think it's so amazing that you've been painting for this long, and to see the evolution of your painting and the different mediums that you've used. And I feel like the process is like you're learning so much about yourself. You're learning so much about where you get blocked and how you push through. And and like it just, the levels of your painting keep getting better and growing, and it's really amazing work. Yeah. Wow. So you're thinking next steps that you'd like to sell this, right? Eventually sell this work.
Yeah. Autonomy helped me a lot because I didn't like talking about selling at all. You bring it up, I want to talk to you at all. Yeah, until I'll be back in like 5 minutes and then I'll talk to you again. But I will get very upset. So,
about the selling, just because it makes you nervous, or
because I didn't want to sell my paintings. But after like joining Autonomy, I started to be more open to it, and then now I kind of want to do it.
Yeah, that means you'll just have to make more paintings, right? So that
yes. Yeah, I have to do that too. I already have 2 customers ready too.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yes, please put your share your Instagram or whatnot so people can view. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem.
That
was fun.
It was really awesome.
Yeah, we've got the full half hour of that interview is up on the forum. Sabrina, where did you put it in the forum?
I'm gonna upload it after our show. I didn't want to show all the goods before our show, but we're gonna post it after.
No spoilers is good.
Yeah. We do have Julianne here today, so if anyone would like to give comments or feedback to her, I'm sure she would love to hear.
Amazing work. Very inspired. Really encouraged with your boldness in the Sunday Q&A a couple weeks back. Got to see that, and to see this follow-up was really neat. So I just want to say, awesome work. Keep it up.
That was great.
Thank you.
Yeah, Julianne.
Go ahead.
Sorry, no, you got Onyx.
Okay, Julianne, that bear blew my mind. It was exquisite, and I think you are just a fabulous, amazing soul, and I'm so glad you're here with us in Autonomy.
Thank you.
Yes, beautiful work, Julianne. The elephant with the bird on the top, the birds on top. I just thought that was so interesting and cute, and I love the texture of the trunk, and the bear was amazing. The water, like you said, it was just so cool.
1 kilometer.
Yeah, Julian, to see the lessons that you've already learned at your tender age about persistence and going through the emotions, and that's amazing. And the picture with the man with the shadow, hat with the shadow over his face, that's got to be my favorite. I'm just curious, like, how did you overcome this desire not to want to sell your art? How did you deal with that?
I didn't hear the question. What was it?
So you mentioned that you didn't want to sell your art. Have you overcome that? And how did you overcome that?
Yeah, I have overcome that. I actually have a project that I really want to do next year. It's almost next year. And I really need to get some currency. So kind of like autonomy helped me break through the barrier I set myself. I'm pretty sure it was related to school of how like artists I will not succeed on getting any currency as an artist. So that was like the idea that I had in my mind. So this kind of being here broke that barrier that I set myself.
Well, congratulations. It's amazing to see your art.
Thank you.
So how many paintings have you sold?
None.
None?
Yeah, I have. I made one that box one with the cap. My little cousin really wanted that one from me, but I already offered a piece to my. Well, I haven't made it, but I asked my aunt if she wanted me to paint her something. So I have her said yes. She said yes to that.
Okay, so the ones that grabbed me were the elephant and then the bear. Those were really impressive. And then you showed me I saw the guy that you had painted, the most recent one, and I thought that was like a Van Gogh. I thought you were copying one of the great masters with that, right? But you weren't. You were just painting. You're learning how to paint humans, and that's how it came out, right?
Yeah.
So
I did copy.
Okay,
copy
good.
it from something.
Because it looks great. It looks, that's art. It communicates. So it's good that you come to terms with being able to part with your art, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm going to tell you, I don't think you have to. I think you should keep the originals, and I think you should sell prints, and then I think you should paint custom orders for people, right? I think the art that you produce, you should learn to put a very, very high price on that and make somebody really want the oil on canvas that you did with your hands, because they can buy a print. Why don't you just buy a print? We can print it on canvas. It'll look just like the real thing. No, I want the one you did. Then that's going to be a lot of money, right? So I'm glad you haven't sold any yet. So the question is it possible to get a print of the elephant and to get a print of the bear? You could digitize these, and then you could have a shop online, and parents would be decorating their kids' rooms with art that you could either say, here's what I've done, or they could say, my son really likes a fox, or my daughter likes skunks. And you could do something, and then you own that painting, and you can make prints of it and sell it to many people, right?
Yeah.
So you could run surveys. Who wants what in what order? And that dictates what you're going to be painting, what genre of animals or landscapes or what have you. And then you still have money and time to pursue your art, and you own your art. And now you're leveraging your art through making prints and doing things like this.
All right.
Right? Doesn't that sound like a better idea?
Yeah, it does.
Now, I have a friend who's a successful artist, and I have a couple of his prints here. I don't have his original work. Even as a friend, I only have a print, right? So, and I also own paintings. I have a Van Gogh upstairs, Starry Night, that I bought specifically because of the texture with which it was painted. It's a copy, it's a replica, but it's hand painted, and you can see the heaviness of the paint. And I had a dream about it after I saw it. I was like, I need to go get that painting. It's the texture that I love about it, right?
Yeah.
So I really like that you're painting with these textures, because that's also attractive to kids. You like painting fur, they like looking at the fur that you painted. So I think there's a really good, serious opportunity there, and you can start bringing in money right away with what you have already on hand, just digitizing it. right? You could even do an NFT. I'm not saying to do that because I think they're kind of sketchy, but like somebody could own the digital print of that, and then, you know, I don't know, maybe that's not the best idea, but digitizing it and getting like lithograph prints or prints on canvas through any number of these places can do it very affordably. And you might have like, you only have so many paintings, so you might just have an inventory and ship it, or you might have an account with, was it Photo Box or whoever, you upload your pictures and they print out stuff, or Snapfish. There are these sites that people use to like, oh, I got a picture of my family, I want to print it out on canvas, and they send it to you for like $30, right? Well, this would be the art plus that, right? So you don't want to give them the digital of the art, but you want to give them the end product that looks like somebody painted this and it's really nice.
Yeah, for sure. I'll consider it.
So yeah, I just, you know, I know that so you needed to get over the step where you're willing to part with your art. And because you're willing to take that leap of faith, I don't think you should have to. And that's usually what the leap of faith does. Like, oh, you were willing to do that? You don't have to. There's another way over here that you can make the money, right?
Yeah.
But because you were willing to, you want to do this thing, and so you're going to sell some of your precious art, now the other opportunity has opened up. So you should figure out, or you could have people here help you figure out, what's it going to cost to digitize a painting, snapshot with a phone, and then what's it cost to get it onto canvas, and how do we get it to people? And how do we get it to people without making them go to a third-party site? And if we can figure that out, we can then set a price to it. And then I could buy the elephant and the bear on canvas, and you don't have to part with your art, but you get paid for your art.
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
Okay.
Cool.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you. That was very bold and courageous of you, and I'm proud of you, and everyone else here is proud of you too.
Yeah, thank you.
I wanted to give you a really great compliment. Your artwork is absolutely amazing, and you have a long, I mean, you're going to have a great career if you continue it. Absolutely amazing. Seriously, I worked 3.5 years in the New York art market, and I can assure you that the things that I sell right now is better than most of the stuff that I saw in the galleries that were selling for like $3,000 to $15,000 per piece of artwork.
Wow.
One of the questions I had, how did you get over the hump of the fox? Why, like, how were you able to finish it or consider it finished and not take a knife to the canvas? Like, what got you over? What was the thought? Like, what was the thing that said, I gotta finish this?
Let's see. I see each painting as a limit. So I finish one painting, and then the next canvas will be my next limit. So I'll improve. That's how I kind of see it. And I knew I had to finish it in order to move on. So I just kind of had to really, really push through it. Also, I had the support of my art instructor. He was really supportive too. And my mom was also very supportive of me too. So that helped a lot too.
I'd love to talk to you and your mom a little bit, just to get an idea, because I can give you a few pointers of the things that I've learned. So
yeah, thank you.
For
sure.
Consider buying a copy if I could.
Awesome. So here we are on Do It Live, getting more people together with their artists, with the people who can get their art out where it needs to be.
Absolutely.
Yep. And with that, we've got up next a father and daughter duo. So Daniel joined in season 7, and he's a video producer, writer, musician, and a father. He has 4 homeschooled children, and one of them is with us here today. Natalie will be sharing some of her sketches. And how about the two of you introduce yourselves to the crowd?
Well, hello, everyone. My name is Daniel.
Hi, I'm Natalie.
And I guess I'll go first, and then I'll let Natalie come in behind me. Like you said, I've been doing video for quite some time, but my passion for video came from photography. When I was in the 7th grade, my father gave me a Pentax 35mm, and he taught me how to work the f-stops and then he gave me rolls of film, and I just got to go out and shoot. And there was a waiting game in those years. You'd drop your film off and wait 2 to 3 days unless you wanted to pay for 24-hour processing, which was expensive. And I used my allowance at the time, so I waited 3 days. And I started shooting a lot of photographs right off the bat. In 7th grade, I was photographing our recesses, our last day of school, our field trips to, places we went, and I continued that. I was an active skateboarder, so that got involved with action photography. And then I started checking out books from the college library where my dad would take me and start to influence my education, which led to me being homeschooled. And I started learning some advanced techniques. And so one of the things I want to share, Cody asked me to pull things off the wall, so I'm going to share physical things. So I'm not sure how well that shows up. I'm hiding behind it. Maybe that might have been a bad call, but here's a 35 millimeter. And this was a time-lapse photo with a flash used manually. So I left the shutter open, and then I used the flash on the object sitting around the campfire. And then I also went and sat and had someone use the flash on me. So I'm kind of in there as a ghost. I'm realizing now that the images with glass are going to reflect. So I'll move past the glass onto some that don't have glass. I really liked photographing nature. When I was in the Rocky Mountains, I had this visual in front of my face, and I couldn't help but just stop and picture it. The ruggedness,
that's beautiful.
The ruggedness of being in that terrain where the wind can cause the trees to grow incredibly slow and survive such harsh conditions, but yet still have such beauty. Nature was a lot of my focus. Things like lily pads and lighting would be a lot of things I like to play with for textures.
I really love the texture on that one.
Yeah, the one lily pad almost seems to just be protruding above the water in its density, and that's what stuck out to me. But I also like working with people. Photographing people is something I really enjoy, catching expressions. And this was when I started working with Photoshop and using types of color changes and effects changes. A lot of times when I'm on a Zoom call, I'll show some of these photos in the background. This was one that I merged, am I upside down here? A photograph of trees merged with fireworks. And it's kind of a mixture of two photographs. And when I made it, it seemed like the fireworks were bleeding out of the leaves of a tree. This was one I sold at a show. But again, like Richard said, when you have prints, you can just sell copies. This was a neighbor of mine for a while. His name was Dominic, and he had caught this toad. But I just grabbed him. It reminded me of Diane Arbus. I'm not sure if anyone knows photography or art history, but I like to shoot black and white sometimes, or just put things into black and white. Relating to skateboarding, I had made this gigantic monologue of all these images, which just covered years and years of different pieces of moments in our skateboarding or art for us. And at the time, it was just like a neat big piece. And then it became a DVD case for a video we released.
Oh, that is cool.
It was the Homie Skate video from 2007. But, little DVD inside. So my photography really was like a big inspiration behind video production and sharing images that was like glass on it. Those are the physical ones I brought. Related to working with Natalie, I've been trying to get more understanding in the digital world. She really has a strong fascination for anime and manga art, also this Japanese culture that Mohammed has been expressing a very strong interest in. And I also myself have a deep respect for it. I grew up in the East Bay, California, and got to go into Chinatown quite a few times and buy comic books in Chinese that I could never read, or I'd read backwards. And there were some of my favorite things as a child. The art, the culture was so different. And even as a young kid, it stood out to me. So when she started drawing, she's been drawing, ever since I can remember. And part of helping her grow into that was learning about a software called Fire Alpaca and drawing tablets and digital art. And when I started moving in that direction, I needed to learn a little bit about what it was I was working with. So I'm going to open up the screen share and share one other thing that I have here. And this was like me trying to figure out this animation software that she was working with, and kind of threw together this little Grand Theft world you know, really rough sketch transition into the photograph. But I thought that's really neat. I want to do a lot more with it, but really she's kicking my butt when it comes to using that stuff. She's really going through the roof with the digital stuff she does, but she also has some physical things to share here as well. In regards to the videos I've been posting in the forum, I recently one about making fermented foods and making tallow. And there's the Grand Theft World song, but that's already been played on Autonomy and Grand Theft World, so there's no need to repeat those. But I just like to create a lot of things, and man, it's been great today, sitting in that, waiting in the seat and seeing all these things come before my eyes. I'm really inspired, and I'll take any questions.
So you're kind of like a jack of all trades then, in the way where you do just all sorts of different projects. I didn't even know you did photography until now.
Yeah,
I thought you just did.
These ones behind me too are also you know, prints from photographs, and I've always wanted to send Richard that red and blue one because the colors match his studio so much. I'll have to make an extra one. And
I just bought red and blue flashing lights so that Cody knows when there's a clip to cut. We're gonna have a switch on the show. It makes the lights flash.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's impressive, Daniel. I like the mixture of composites, the overlapping of images.
Yeah, the little collage that's put on the DVD case, that was cool.
yeah, it wasn't intended. Initially, I was trying to make, I like this yearbook effect with our skateboard videos. It used to kind of be like a yearbook thing every 2 to 3 years, or sometimes 1 year. You just collect all of what people had did. And for the skateboarders, they're kind of athletes pushing themselves to do better than previous years. And that would be the main focus. But there would always be this other clips, we would call it B-roll, or, you know, people hanging out, or the other things that happened in the process. And those were always so fun to put together. And so I put this big photograph montage together kind of to capture like our culture and like what was going on with us. And then when the DVD idea came around, we're just like, hey, let's just split that and put that on the front and the back. And you know, it was a really neat thing to do with an older piece of art, to have it recreated and come to life again.
Yeah, it sure comes to life, and that would be certainly eye-catching to see that on a shelf.
Perfect. I really loved the little boy. You just caught him in a very sweet moment.
Yeah, Dominic. Yeah, he was our neighbor for quite some time, and he caught a toad, and I just said, hey, can I take a picture of that? And it just was like, I did put a little bit of effects on it. Like there's like a little bit of a zoom towards his face, but it was, again, when I looked at it after I took it, just Diane Arbus, you can look up ARBUS. She's a legend in photography.
Yeah, his expression is so sweet. I just love that.
He was a cool kid too.
Daniel, thank you for being a true Renaissance man, and how lucky Natalie and your other 3 children are to have you as the pack leader. Really beautiful work. Thank you. Thank you for sharing it with us. I'm looking forward to seeing what Natalie has too.
Yes. Well, in that cue, then I will pass it over, and Natalie can take the microphone.
Okay. Are we gonna switch seats?
Yeah, I'll switch.
Okay. Have a few physical, like hand-drawn ones I did on paper, and then some digital ones I'm gonna show, but I don't know how to share a screen, so I'm gonna do
I'll help with all that.
the sketch ones first.
If you want to peek over the shoulder, then you can see in this window what you're sharing.
This is one I did really recently. I colored it in with markers. I saw an idea on a website called Pinterest actually, and I thought it was cool.
I love the shadowing behind her hair.
Oh, yeah, that was fun. Learned how to do that recently too. I have there's this author called Christopher Hart, and he does really good anime drawing books, and I learned a lot from him. I have like almost his entire series of drawing anime upstairs. This is one I did just after Christmas because I got these new brush pens. Here, let's see. I wanted to try it out. I already had the sketch ready made to color it in.
My favorite of this one is the elements in the hands.
The
When
sun
I
and the
saw
moon.
I was like, yo, what made you put those elements in his hands like he's a magician juggling?
That's cool.
I'm bad at this.
It's actually themed after a video game character. I just turned him into a human because he's not a human at all, but it's from a Kirby.
Oh, that's what that is?
Yeah, Marks.
That's Marx as a human.
Yeah, I like doing that where I turn video game characters who aren't human into like I give them a human form. It's kind of fun to try sometimes. And I just finished this one yesterday, actually. You know, it was really tricky to here. I am not good with this either.
That's cool. Hold it.
Oh wow.
To do all the color and the shading and the gradients of some of the hair. But I'm really happy with how it turned out. I don't exactly remember when I started getting interested into drawing anime. I think I just stumbled across a book and I'm like, wow, I like the style. And I just got really interested with it.
Is it the last physical one?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, yeah.
I'm gonna help you with the screen share part. Share. We'll go to the, where's that folder at? And I think you wanted to start down here, I believe.
Yeah, just press this arrow.
Yeah, and you could scroll up. I think the animation's at the
So
top.
I want to press the up arrow.
Yeah. I believe.
Okay. Okay. This is I've just started doing like digital art recently. So I've been experimenting and practicing, and this is the result so far with this one. Sometimes it's really hard to try to figure out how to do like the lighting, the shading and everything, and the colors. It's a lot more hard than with just like you got crayons or markers or something. And then I used the airbrush technique with this one. This is all on Fire Alpaca. And this is a video game character too from something called a really old game called Chrono Trigger. It's my favorite. This is another hand-drawn one that Eddie took a picture of. Something I did for fun.
Talk a little bit about those characters and what inspired you, maybe.
Oh gosh.
So many faces in there.
Yeah, it's a mixture of characters I made up, characters from stories, you know, novels, comic books, and characters from video games. And I thought it'd be cool to mix them all together. That's something I like. Another thing I like doing is mixing characters from different stories or, you know, video games and putting them together.
In the bottom middle, is that Gur?
What?
Gur from Invader Zim?
No. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. But
It just looks similar.
okay. I'm like, I don't even know what that is.
They feel very D&D/video game to me. I love these.
Thanks.
Yeah, there's like an endless level of detail here to look at. Like my eye just keeps going from one character to another where different pieces just flow seamlessly from one to the other.
Yeah, it's a little cut off at the top and the bottom, but
I think it's just because of the box, the preview.
yeah. I'm still Daddy and me made copies of it. And I'm still trying to color it in. There's a lot to color in. And this is my animation that I've been doing. It's Kirby characters again, but they're not humanized.
Aww.
Cody, I think you just found your animator for your book if you needed one.
Holy cow!
Totally.
I
I haven't-
can. I'm sorry, you go ahead.
I haven't finished it yet, so it just kind of cuts out in a moment.
You can let it play twice or three times.
Yeah, I'm gonna play.
Daniel, you ever see the movie Better Off Dead, where John Cusack's the cartoonist and he keeps drawing the cartoons throughout the movie?
No, I haven't seen that Cusack one.
This is actually, oh, dude, it's classic movie that old people like me have all seen 100 times. His animation style is just like this. They show in the movie him drawing and doing an animation just like this. And yeah, this looks great. This all looks wonderful. I'm so inspired by the younger generations now.
Yeah, they're catching up way ahead of us. I think what's left up here is
Is there anything up here?
maybe these are the ones from the,
I don't
I can't
think so.
remember. Oh yeah, these are the ones you showed.
Yeah, I took a
Okay.
picture. Well, there's one I forgot to show, so it's in somewhere.
Which one is it?
It would be up, one of the ones you took a picture of.
Oh, okay. Let's see.
So that's that
Oh
one.
yeah, that one.
I forgot.
I really like this one a lot.
Yeah, and I'm so happy with how the eyes turned out. I mean,
And the watercolor scheme too.
yeah.
Oh, I just love the little butterflies. That's so cool.
I was really happy with this turnout.
So
That's it.
she inspires me. It's bizarre when you like go to the hospital one day and you're like, wow, I hope my wife makes it through this. And then you got to like take care of this little thing in your house forever. And then before you know it, they're looking at you funny, like, what are you saying, Dad? And then you getting inspired by stuff they're doing. Like I remember that one that we were talking about before with all the different characters into one frame. When I saw that at first, I kind of like was bumped in my chest. I'm like, yo, my daughter is like moving me around. And it's the same thing I see in Julianne's work. Like when and again, this is stuff we talk about in autonomy, that our potential is just beyond what we know. And to be able to employ that with my children is such a huge blessing. I mean, when I told Richard at the blueprint call, his history, his body of work has just changed my life so much that these 4 children I'm raising are going to come in this environment that's just wide open. And someone earlier said you affect one influencer, you may affect 1 million people. What if you affect 50 influencers? And I want to applaud Richard Grove for affecting influencers worldwide. We're all here because of what he's done. And so it's all gratitude and love passed on to others that we've received.
Oh yeah, I would not have been able to bring together this crew of artists for this Do It Live show without the framework that Richard built for us. Which is just, it's all so woot woot, and it makes me laugh with, kind of what you said about the inspiration, where you draw inspiration from your daughter's artwork. And then where do you get your inspiration from, Natalie?
Other people's art and nature, and I should say like life around me, as well as stories and things. I get it from all that.
Yeah, so it just becomes this cycle of one person makes something and that inspires someone else to make something else, and it just keeps going.
That's cool. Yeah.
So I have a daughter. I wanted to know, do you have a sketchbook? And if you do, when did you get your first one?
I have lots of sketchbooks. I have about 1 million, I don't know what my first one would have been. For the longest time, I just used computer paper.
Yeah, that's true.
And then Mom was like, no, you should use a sketchbook. Your folders aren't going to hold all this. You need something more reliable. And I'm like, oh, you're probably right. I don't think I have one of my older ones, but that's upstairs in my room. So I couldn't go get that right now.
It would be neat to talk about, years and years back when you were doing those dragon drawings, which you probably wouldn't like looking at now. So remember you got to go show those at a gallery.
Oh yeah, that was cool.
So
It was because I was selling those homemade like little mini books right outside the farmer's market.
Yep.
And in Oshkosh. And some lady came up to me and she ran an art gallery on Main Street, right by the farmer's market, and she invited me to display my art there.
So cool. How old are you, Natalie?
15.
You guys are so inspiring. This is amazing. I'm not an artist. I used to draw, but this makes me want to be one. Thank you.
You can do it.
Yeah.
I do other things.
Oh,
You do other things.
it's cool.
What a cool call today.
Speaking of like collaboration too, I believe that Cody and Natalie have been kind of collaborating with a little bit of Natalie's art, right?
Yeah, Natalie was kind enough to make a little sketch of my character. This is a sketch that she put together of the main character from the fan fiction novel that I'd started writing, and she did doing a little bit of artwork, and we're just kind of seeing where that goes. And I just love it. I love it. It's so awesome seeing this character that's been living in my head and then living in words for the past several months, and now she lives on the page, and it feels so good. And just thank you, Natalie, for putting that together. It's glorious. It's beautiful. I love it.
You're welcome. I enjoy it.
Thank you, Natalie. All right, well, Cody's going to be up next. Let's give a big round of applause for Natalie and Daniel. Thank you guys so much. Cody is a season 6 graduate, and on top of being a writer, he's also a video editor and photographer. And Cody has been working hard writing his fan fiction book, and he shares his progress in our Tuesday mastermind class together. And Cody put together a brief excerpt from his writing today about the character that you saw on screen, the dragon Lapis.
Yeah, so this novel that I've been writing, it's for a series called Wings of Fire, a fantasy series with dragons, and there's no people in sight. The first few books are all about the Sandwings succession war, but where I really kind of drew interest in, where I drew interest in the series is kind of in the breadcrumbs that's left behind in the Seawing tribe by the long ago history standalone novel in the series. So I took those couple of breadcrumbs, added the whole cast of my own characters to the world, and just started writing. So I got that brief excerpt. And just for context, I made there be another Sandwing war going on outside in the world, and the Seawings have stayed out of it thanks to their isolated, hidden, and partially underwater palace. So having gills and wings helps evade that disaster. But that security is shattered when a Sandwing assassin disguised as a messenger shows up. And after failing to kill Queen Pearl, the Sandwing grabs Lapis as a hostage and threatens to stab her with his venomous scorpion-like tail barb. Hostage, get out of the palace alive. But Lapis manages to use her wits and escape his hold, not without knocking with the antidote the assassin was wielding to bargain for her life. And that leaves Lapis's partner, Jade, in a bit of a panic state. And you'll see what I mean, as this excerpt is from his perspective. Lapis struck out, knocking not only the Sandwing's dagger, but the little antidote vial away. Now free, she rolled away from the Sandwing, coughing and gasping for breath. Before she got far, the Sandwing struck down at her with his lethally sharp tail barb. Jade shrieked, a terrified, graceless son, and his eyes snapped up to the only glimmer of hope as the antidote fell from sight. His legs moved without being told. With a powerful lunge, his wings snapped open, and before he was even out over the edge of the pavilion, tucked them back in. His foot caught on the lip of the stone platform as he hurtled past. He hardly felt it, though. His eyes just locked on the vial hurtling towards the lake. If it hit from this height, it would surely shatter. Dimly, he realized it wasn't entirely safe for him either. He tucked his wings in tighter, arching his head straighter, maximizing his streamline. Wind whistled by, threatening to tear his wings open. The vial drew closer, the lake faster still. From behind, an ear-piercing wail drove into his skull. He pressed his wings in even tighter. He'd get one chance. If he fumbled, Lapis would die. His talons lashed out, his grip secured. Barely had time to tuck the invaluable glass to his chest before slamming into the water. Pain burned his whole body. He ignored it, wheeling around near the bottom of the lake and powered up through the torrent of bubbles. His wings snapped open, and he pumped them frantically back up the pavilion. The distance he burned with rapid abandon in his wild dive seemed to drag on forever. But when he glanced at the little glimmer of hope in his talons, he steeled himself and pumped harder. If Lapis struck anywhere near her heart, she'd need every precious moment, and judging by the scream, it had been a bad hit. And man, I put all my characters through so much in this book, but Jade is probably the one who has the roughest time of it. And if you're wondering where the names came from, pretty much the only canon character in my book is Queen Pearl. So all the Seawings have names related to water, oceanic life, the colors blue and green, which, Lapis Lazuli is blue, so the name's Lapis, and Azul just fit perfectly, and adding Jade was just too much fun to resist. And that's what intrigued me so much about this quote from this book on writing. And I kind of last minute hacked together a kind of book cam where I've got this. So this book is Take Joy. It's Tweety Sutherland's the author of Wings of Fire. It's the book that she's gone on record saying is her favorite book on writing. And this passage here on I is for irritation. There's one letter from the alphabet. Each word goes to a different subject. And just for this one, I is for irritation. By this, I'm not talking about those everyday irritations we all suffer. A couple years ago, my furnace died a horrible death, spewing carbon monoxide and a whole lot of soot into the bedrooms, the bathroom, and my husband's workroom. That's an annoyance. I learned nothing from it. I gained nothing except perhaps a very expensive new heating system. By irritation, I mean the kind of sand in the oyster that produces a pearl. A good story is that kind of irritant. You read it, you cannot stop thinking about it. Eventually, your mind and heart insist about it, and what occurs is a pearl of the soul. And that's exactly what I'd wanted just to do with this book. Just reach out to other people, and I'd recently read a different book series where it's more dragons, because I like dragons kind of a lot. And it's almost like naval battles with a captain on a ship, but it's on a living, breathing dragon with these harnesses that they clamber around on. But one of these characters in this book neglects his dragon. And the way that this plot ended up going, it became something that I needed to chew over for a bit. And, it was just intriguing to listen to. And that's what I'm wanting to do with this book here, is reach out to other people and give them something to think on.
Thank you, Cody. Does anyone have any feedback or comments?
The pace is great.
Mhm.
And it was very exciting. I really liked it.
Thank
I'll have
you.
to read more.
And how, let's see about your writing, Cody. How has your writing benefited you?
Yeah, so I was stuck in a gaming addiction for a very long time. You spend hours grinding away pixels, and you come away exhausted and with nothing to show for it. But after a session of writing, I feel better for having done it. I'm engaging a part of my brain, and then I have something to show for it. I have something that I can reach out to other people with. And it's just, now I'm doing something with my time that's feeding both myself and could feed other people when I start showing this out to the wider world.
Hey man, I really like that quite a bit. It's one of the things on my list to do, hopefully in my life, is to achieve is to write a book or something. What is your process like? Like, how do you get in the zone, and how much time do you spend on it a day, or what is your workflow like? And just maybe, I'm always curious to know what people's method is as far as that goes.
Yeah, so my workflow at the moment is kind of limping along a little, but the idea of what I'm supposed to do is, wake up, I have my routine, and then my video editing work in the morning, and then, catching it with other stuff. And 6 o'clock rolls around, and I just, sit down and I just write. I know what I need to write next. For me right now, that's going to be touching at the end of chapter 8 on the rewrite, and then moving on to chapter 9. It's just, the next chapter to write, and I've got my notes on the basic idea of what I want the chapters to be, and then I just let the characters breathe in their own world. And I've had new characters show up, I've had plot lines go in slightly unintended directions, and I just write, and especially when I was putting together the rough draft, I started almost with like really heavy writer's block, and then just put out garbage. It's like priming the pump. You write one bad line, and then the next bad line can come after it. Then soon you're off to the races writing, and now you've got this list of bad words that you can go back over and see what theme you need to incorporate, what characters need to be incorporated, what ideas you're missing, what you've included too much of. And it's just putting in those 3 hours a day every single day.
That's awesome, man. Keep it up. Thank you.
And Cody, when you're writing, do you know exactly where you're going with the story, or is the whole book mapped out, or is every kind of sit down kind of a surprise where you're going to go?
The whole book was mapped out from start to finish. I'm working on the second draft, so I obviously already have the whole thing written. And as far as changes and events going over the second draft, not a lot will probably change, but I'm only a third of the way through, so who knows, but even on the first draft, I knew where I was going. Just the vision that I had for this book was I wrote the ending first. The climax of the story was a single chapter of a different project, and it just blew up into a short story and then to this novel that I've been writing. And my brain just started asking a bunch of questions on, if I include this character to, because Jade wasn't a part of the story to begin with. It was just my brother and sister, Lapis and Azul, and their simple little problem. And I threw Jade into the mix, where you've now got this triangle with their own complicated relationships. And it just became a series of what happens if I do this? What happens if I do that? And I got a big enough framework that I could start weaving together these disparate pieces into a single narrative, and then just was executing on that plan.
Awesome.
Wow, so it's all in your head. And that's also, do you touch type or do you dictate? How do you do that?
I touch type. 6 months ago, I did not know how to type properly. 6 months ago, I was like halfway between hunt and peck and not looking at the keyboard, but I would only use 4 fingers total, and started typing, a totally different fan fiction idea. And then this idea eventually came out of that, just kind of inevitably. And along the way, my typing speed gradually increases. I figured out where more of the keys are by, typing so much. And then went and got an ergonomic keyboard and learned proper typing form with it. I can now type 60 words a minute just because I put in the time to learn to type.
Do you type faster than you think?
Oh, yes. I'm pretty sure I would still think faster than I could type if I could type 100 words a minute. I don't think that's ever going to be my limiting factors, be unable to type, be unable to think fast enough. Like my brain, and it chews constantly over this, going to bed, on a walk. If I don't have something else that's desperately trying to occupy my brain space at any given moment, my brain goes, Legends Lazuli?
Yeah, and I was just curious, Cody. I know you said that it's good to get off the games and stuff. I'm just wondering how much of that really contributed to forming your creativity as well. I'm not saying everyone should go gaming, but I just find sometimes these experiences happen for a reason. So I was just curious if you had any thoughts on that.
That's an interesting point, and I've actually never looked at it that way. How has the gaming benefited me? Like that's not something I ever would have considered.
What were you used to playing? What kind of games?
It's kind of all over the place. Elite Dangerous, a space simulator, Mario Kart, kart racer. I've played quite a bit of Minecraft, mostly various mini games. There's not really a theme to it.
Thank you for sharing your talent, Cody. In that short excerpt, I actually could see it. So your words actually formed visions in my mind, and that is very cool. So please keep us updated. I'm curious to know how it works out.
I'm glad it had that kind of effect, and I've been gradually accruing a list of people on a Dropbox that can just take a look to it, and I've been trying to post updates into the Dropbox, and I'm still trying to figure out how to get the rough draft out to more select people, while kind of working in the background on actually publishing this thing for real.
What were you thinking as far as publishing was concerned? Are you thinking of going through a house or going through Amazon or something the same as Amazon?
Well, as for where I'm going to publish it, I don't really have any idea because, you know, it's a fan fiction novel. It's not my own world, you know, so I need to have, you know, some kind of discussion with the author on monetizing this, you know, because if this does become big enough, the author could come after me with a lawyer, which...
Well, there's a lot of fan fiction that became stuff too. What was the one about the girls' book? I forget the name that everybody like sort of tripped on like 10 years ago. The like S&M book. I'm sorry, I don't even remember.
50 Shades of Grey.
Was it really 50 Shades of Grey? Huh. 50 Shades of Grey is a fan fiction novel.
It's a spin-off. It's a fan fiction novel. I can't remember on what.
Huh, I never would have guessed. Yeah, just, you know, yeah, there's a precedent for fan fiction novels, you know, and that, you know, and at first, you know, kind of my idea is just, you know, reach out to some people that make videos on YouTube for Wings of Fire, just because I can do video editing, you know, and that gets me a foot in the door for the community. You know, reaching out to the author, using the interview skills and getting an autonomy. Something can build from there.
All right, Cody. Well, thank you so much for sharing your book with us today. And finally, to wrap things off, we've got Rawad. He's a season 7 student and he's built his marketing and course design. And Rawad has 9 years experience in marketing and 3 years experience in course design. And today he's going to share with us his website and maybe also a couple of photos. So yeah, take it away, Rawad, whenever you're ready.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so my name is Rawad. I'm originally from Lebanon, season 7 graduate. And thanks to Autonomy, I'm now in Mexico. So yeah, I would like to share, I do not have a full-fledged website. You probably have seen me posting in the forum about my course, the SEO copywriting, which is copywriting for search engines. So I will share my screen. I don't want to make it too salesy, so I'm just presenting a bit the landing page. And I thought that can be a bit relevant to what season 8 students are seeing. You're into internet marketing at the moment, I think. So that's one of the landing pages I've built for the course. This is specifically for Autonomy with the pricing for Autonomy students. And I use a tool that is not Kajabi. And it has a built-in site builder, and I built the landing pages myself. The next step would be to bring my services as a marketer and the courses I'm going to be building into one website. But this is going to be my goal for 2023. And so that's what you see in the front end, like as a user. This is how it looks like, the platform on the back end. So these are the courses, the course pages I create. There are marketing tools in there as well. Some reporting center and so on. And then the student would get this player. This is what they see. And yeah, so I had to, basically I built the curriculum myself. I recorded the video, I had to, because I didn't have anyone and I didn't have the budget. So I had to learn also some video editing, which was very basic, because I decided that the best way to go about it, since I'm on my own, is to have slide decks. So I built a slide deck without me being in the video. So I do not have to do too much editing other than basically just cutting and I don't know how you call it, but bringing the sequences together. So yeah, so I had to design the website, the curriculum. I have to teach it as well, because I was looking for teachers, but I ended up doing it and I'm very happy with that. So that's one thing I wanted to show you. Another thing I also, while I was still at my job and I was deciding to come to Mexico, knowing that I will lose my job and I will have to have some income. It's not bringing me income yet, but I'm building an affiliate site. I called it The Middle Eats Food. The creativity here is basically, would be that since it's based, I'm trying to rank in the search engines. And I know that branded words, if people look for branded words, it gives you, it signals to search engines that you are a famous brand. I noticed that people type Middle Eats, it's a typo, and and then my site would appear, and Google would think, or other search engines, that my site is well known and being searched for. So basically, it's not recipe website, it's more guides. I had some hypotheses about SEO and to rank. So I use it as a testing ground. I only made 10 euros so far. It's been around for 7 months, maybe 9 months now. So that's one thing. And finally, that's it basically for work. I do other stuff as well, but these are the two main things I'm focusing on, thanks to autonomy as well. Going through it, through the course, I managed to nail down my focus and start doing things. And I noticed that every time I move around the world, my mind opens up and I start doing new things. How much time I still got? I just need a minute to show you some pictures. I guess I have to re-share my screen somehow. Okay, computer sound. And I will try to play, hopefully you can hear the track. Just a moment.
We lose. There he is.
Can you still hear? I don't know, because the music's still playing. I hope it's not.
Oh, the music's still playing on your end. Well, it's not playing for us anymore.
Okay.
But yeah, that was an interesting slideshows for sure. And it's
yeah, maybe I forgot to mention that these are my pictures. Some of them are just I just took as they are. Some of them are manipulated, obviously. And the music is also something I did in the past. So,
oh, the music, you made the music.
yeah, yeah. These are things I'm not doing anymore, but I thought I'd share too. And I just wanted to say a few things that many people here had the courage to show up and to show their work. And I guess that's what creativity is about, or being creative is about being courageous to take action, to test new things and go to extremes. I'm not talking about bad extremes, but to stretch your potential and share, having the courage to share with others and getting feedback, and finally to be kind to ourselves and be patient with ourselves. And I guess that's how I view creativity and how I approach it. I had to learn it the hard way. I was not always like that. So thank you all for the opportunity and for sharing your minds.
Thank you, Rawad. Any comments? Feedback for Rawad?
The video ending with Rawad in a turtleneck made me think of that sketch from Saturday Night Live, the Dieter sketch, and now we dance.
Thank you for the feedback.
I wasn't sure of the context of the video. The images, some of the images were really nice. The music was a little weird, but now that you said a couple of things in there, it makes a lot more sense. Thank you for that.
Yeah, that's basically, I don't have a very cheerful music. I like to touch on the dark sides without sinking into it. So yeah, sorry about that.
No, the images were great, and the music is actually really cool from a like a video soundtrack perspective for certain scenes. But like,
exactly.
I was, the context was missing. So
yeah, it certainly has a particular kind of flavor to it.
It has a whole mood. It almost felt a little haunting, especially with the overlays, and they looked kind of vintage. It kind of felt like a little like, ooh, like ominous or spooky. Kind of, I liked it. It set a mood for me. I was like, ooh, I'm in a headspace right now.
Yeah, it was like the intro to a scary movie.
Yeah, exactly.
I was waiting for the shoe to drop.
Yeah.
Turtleneck.
Yeah, turtleneck. I have put in a plug for Rawad's course. I'm taking it. I'm not very far, but I can see that it will help me a lot in promoting my website.
Thank you, Chris.
So I recommend it to everybody.
I will be there in January. Rawad, thank you for sharing your work. That was really interesting. And your photography, is that, are you doing double exposures or is that Photoshop? How would you get those affected pictures?
Well, it's all taken with my phone, basically, with my cheap phone. And sometimes I use apps. Other times, it just happens that there's a reflection, especially when I'm used to commute with the train in Germany. You had two windows on both sides, and you have two different views. And when I'm taking a picture here, and there's the reflection from the other side. So there's both of them. There's my manipulation, and there's also just the visual that's happening like on its own. Just I find it, let's say.
So perspective within perspective, like an inception of perspective.
Yeah, I kind of look, I look for them, like I'm looking, but I stopped doing taking these pictures or doing any of that. Ever since COVID started, I just stopped. I do videos as well, but just short ones. But I stopped all of this, even the music, because I'm not a musician. I'm just playing around.
What were you composing on?
Ableton, the free version.
Yeah, well, I'm certainly reminded of Muhammad's philosophy that he said earlier, that magic is making something exist that wasn't there before. And your course, that music, that slideshow, everything you put together there, it didn't exist before. And just kind of, do you have any thoughts to add on to that philosophy?
No, I liked what you said about your mind told you something that you let go. And I think that's also part of being courageous, to let go and listen to other self, yourself, that voice, whatever.
Yeah.
And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And we actually had a last minute email from Judy, who would like to share. She was going to bring us out with some opera singing. So we're going to get a nice opera song.
Hi guys. Oh, thanks, Sabrina. Hi guys. This is my newest hat, by the way. So I made that, and I'm going to try, and I found a track to sing along to, so hopefully this will work out okay. Here goes everything. And Van, this one's for you because you inspired me to practice.
Yeah, Zoom
is clipping everything.
Yeah, Zoom's clipping everything, and I'm trying to scramble to find where the setting is, but I'm not finding it.
What's going on?
Zoom is
Technical difficulties.
Your singing is beautiful, Judy, but we're only hearing some of those lower notes where it's going down, and then when it goes high, it's just we see your face, and we can imagine, but because of Zoom, I know.
The little bit that came through, you have a very beautiful voice. But buy a microphone? I don't know.
I'm just using the computer, you guys. So what do I know?
Judy, record a track for us.
That's
record a track for us.
Yeah, but Judy, I could definitely. You are an opera singer. I mean, anyone that can sing like that and that high and that vibrato, and it's just like wow.
Thank you so much. I haven't done this in a really long time. And Van really pushed me the other night. He was like, why aren't you practicing? You say you love it. Why don't you practice? I'm like, you're right. So I did, and I got my notes back, and it was really just booze that was stopping me. So, that had me killing my voice. I had a little, every time I drink a little bit, it just kind of craps out. So I figured that out, and I got my notes back. Hooray.
Awesome.
Yeah, and I just found out where that setting is. It's called original sound for musicians, because what Zoom does is it thinks the singing is background noise, so it tries to cut it out.
So can you fix it so she can start over?
Yeah, so
you want me to try again?
Yeah. On the bottom left, with the mute and stop video button, click on the arrow and then go to audio settings. It should be the bottom indicator.
Where in the more? No. I don't have anything like that.
Where your mute and unmute is, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, click the little triangle.
And what am I looking for?
Audio settings at the bottom.
Audio settings.
Yeah, I don't think she sees the same thing as you because she's not a host.
Well, I see some stuff. So what do I look for?
This is interior Zoom settings, it's your end for Zoom. So on the audio tab, about halfway down where it says audio profile, Zoom optimized audio and original sound for musicians.
There it is. Okay,
Yeah, click on original sound for musicians.
got it.
And that should bring up a tab in the top left of the screen, kind of by the button where it says it's recording, where it says original sound for musicians. Click that to
see
toggle
that
that for
there.
on.
It's on off. Wait a minute. Hold on. How do I? Hold on.
Click on the words
Yeah,
to
it's on
toggle it to
now.
on.
It's on now. So now I got to shut this, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
and that should let you do it without it cutting out your singing.
Okay. Oh, if you'd like me to do it again, I will. Let me skip this ad because it's being obnoxious, and I got to go back and replay. Ready?
Yep.
Okay, let
Yes.
me try again. Well, that was fun.
Yeah, that was certainly the spirit of Do It Live. Okay, why is it not working?
I almost feel like it's the computer. Is there a reverb?
Still sucking?
Yeah, it's much better,
It's
but
better.
it's still clipping.
Oh crap. I don't know what to do. It's on the thing. So, well, maybe I'll make a video and post it for you guys.
Judy, it was much more audible for us, and we could certainly hear your voice, but not in all its glory. So that was
You probably
incredibly
need a good mic.
Yeah, I've got a computer mic. I don't have a real mic, so that's probably part of the problem.
So I think the computer is clipping and it's distorting, and because it's distorting, the software, the Zoom software is recognizing it as distortion, so it's taking it out because it's annoying, and I think that's I don't know whether or not clicking that high fidelity thing might be it, but the best way to do it, I think, is to record it and then put it as a blog item in your wins, and you've got 25 people that are, I'm sure, like, I'm going to listen to it. I want to hear it.
Oh yeah,
So-
I definitely
Yeah,
want to
me
hear
too.
it without Zoom going, "Hi, no, this isn't happening."
Especially leaving us on a cliffhanger like this, for sure. I'm going to go listen to it. For sure.
Okay. Well, I'll give you a bonus track too. There was something else I wanted to sing that was even better than this, but I can't sing it today. So I will practice that one and find the karaoke for that, and I'll make a video and I'll post it for y'all. Thank you so much for letting me do this, you guys.
Thank you, Judy.
Great.
And
Great
thank you,
effort.
Van, for the inspiration.
Oh, thank you. You were the brave one.
It's been a while, but I've done this before.
All
Yeah.
right.
Thanks, Judy.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was certainly the spirit of Do It Live right there. And thank you so much to all our wonderful guests. But that concludes our Do It Live New Year's Eve edition, and we wish you all so much creativity, happiness, and growth in the new year. May you always be inspired and ignite your potential. And with that, let's roll the outro. Yeah. Happy New Year, Autonomizers.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, everyone.
was awesome.
Great job, everybody. That was awesome.
Wow. You guys just, wow. Totally blew it out of the park.
That was
Amazing.
fun.
Incredible show. Well done.
Sabrina and Cody, thank you so much. You were fabulous hosts, and that was an awesome time seeing everyone's creativity and magic. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for coming on.
Just so
Great
much
concept, great show.
Good job, guys. Happy New Year. Talk to you soon.
Take care, everyone. Happy New Year.
Lots of
Dojo 1, 11 o'clock Eastern time.
Okay.
What was that? 9 p.m. Eastern?
11.
11 p.m. Eastern. Okay.
What, dojo room or something, or what did we say?
Dojo 1, 11 p.m. Eastern.
I'm going to be watching Duran Duran on New Year's Rockin' Eve. If they haven't played yet, I'm going to be on that. Sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. It's going to last, what, 4 hours? 3 hours? What's the time zone? 3 hours, right?
3 hours, right? Yeah.
Judy, in the little bit that I got a chance to hear what you were singing, it was beautiful. And when you hit that one note, I literally got chills. So I am definitely looking forward to that.
Thank you, JL.
We found out that JL speaks Japanese.
Yeah, that was amazing.
Yeah.
Italiano e giapponese, ma che cazzo, non capisco.
Hola, domo arigato. Mr. Roboto.
This
is a good show.
This theme for the show where we all bring pieces together, and Onyx with her improv had me thinking of a show where there's a bunch of improv. And maybe people who talked about wanting to do that. Also, I didn't get to add, I'd want to do that. But maybe we could come together and allot 10, 12-minute segments where we do that, where either we draw key ideas from the audience or just from a hat, and then we have to run that for 12 minutes. And then we maybe take a break, talk about it, and then we do it again. And that could be like a workshop. It could help people maybe just have fun, but also maybe develop their skills. And just, I agree with everything Onyx said about that improvisational, just being on the spot. It's kind of something I do with TV commercials. It's like leftover Mystery Science Theater 3000. Just mock things, interject your own opinion. Like if the president's speaking, I press mute and I'm talking over him. So yeah, that'd be a neat thing to recreate in an environment like this.
I agree.
Let's do it. It would be so much fun. I love improv.
It'd be like a safe space for people who want to try it out, you know? And are nervous.
Place where they can trigger their complexity.
Yeah, it would certainly trigger my complexity. I've gotten invested in a story pretty heavily, but it's something that I have built gradually over time, and it's not something I feel like I could do on the spot very easily.
Oh, you would be great at it, Cody. And it reminds me a little bit what Richard said last night in last night's lecture about old world skills to be cogent, congruent, competent, and confident. And it's the little bit of improv that I've done, I've always super enjoyed it. You walk away feeling absolutely exhilarated. And it really is a great way to practice those skills. So I could see it being something great for autonomy and just really fun to do.
Yeah, and I certainly have an idea to do the sales exercise, you know, with role play as one of the characters from my book. And in fact, you know, essentially just role play as Jade, just, you know, with his personality quirks, because there could be something fun to come out of that.
Like fire.
Well, the ceilings don't breathe fire. All they got are gills, and that's pretty much it.
Okay, peeps. Well, I've had the idea of offering improv. I just wasn't sure if it was interesting. But now that I've heard everyone, I will organize something for the new year, and we can have lots of fun.
Fun.
I just wanted to say, Sabrina and Cody, that you did a really awesome job. You were the dynamic duo, and I just felt like your personalities gelled really well, and nobody dominated anything, but you really shared the time really well and went back and forth. It was very professional. I loved it. I thought you did an awesome job.
Thank you, Erin. That means a lot coming from you, from your Do It Live, which was amazing. So
Yeah, I would just say that, to set off the new year with such inspiring, I feel so inspired from this show. It's going to be the theme for the year for me, man. I really feel like you guys just really, captured something that is really special about autonomy, and that realization of the potential, especially the young ladies, just totally showing us how much potential we all have, and they're going at it, and I feel like, damn, I'm so far behind. But yeah, this is just great, really, really good.
yeah, that was the idea, was like creativity and then really featuring the younger students as well as the older ones, to kind of see that lineage and learning from each other, inspiring each other, and kind of starting off the new year with feeling invigorated and like, yes, we can do this.
I'm inspired.
Oh yeah, I'm certainly inspired, and I'm very relaxed at having accomplished bringing together all these artists, and there were so many fun things that could not have possibly been planned.
Yeah, this was a very creative process between me and Cody. We've been thinking about this for over a month, so we've been going back and forth with each other, and we go, what to do, and then Nick helped us out a lot, where we would consult with him, and then look, what do we do now, and then it just kept building and building, and we're like, let's showcase all of this talent that everyone has.
And it really showed. It really came through, and there's so many highlights in that show. Everyone had unique abilities, and it was really nice for me, especially to see the interaction between Daniel and his daughter, and that that bond, and yeah, that was really lovely to see. But there's so many highlights in the show today. Olivia's daughter, she's such a young, she's got such an exciting future. The lessons that she's already learned at her age. Yeah, it's exciting to see where she's going. Well done, guys. Well done.
Yeah, I would say that's kind of in the spirit of John Taylor Gatto. I was just watching one of his videos this morning, and I just feel the way that he talked about children, and that recognizing the future and just facilitating the blossoming of the curiosity and creativity. I think we're this was a great representation of that. So man, I'm just so thrilled. And you guys with the scripted parts, I thought you really did a really good job of interacting with each other. And then Cody, I know I've been working with you for a while, and the way you introduced your piece, I just man, it was wonderful, just absolutely wonderful.
Yeah, I had to put some thought into what's something that I can do that'll take me like 2 minutes to get in and get out, because I can and have talked about my book for hours on end to anybody and anyone who would listen. And just, it was trying to find which scene to do it, and then I wrote that scene like probably Christmas Eve was when I wrote that scene, because the first time that I wrote that chapter, the entire sequence was from Lapis's perspective, with the whole, she gets pinned down by the sandwing, has to think of a way to A, realize that it's A, safe to try and escape, B, how to escape, because there's all these pieces that she got to fit together on, because he has magic, he has a dagger, he has a tail barb, he has her in a chokehold. Every single one of these problems needs to be solved, and she does this in like a minute, but there's not without consequences, and one of those consequences is completely freaking out Jade, and just the chapter 7 just started running along. It was like, hey, let's split this into 3 pieces, and we get Jade's perspective in the middle of him just absolutely losing his head.
And I don't know about previous Do It Lives, but you might have smashed the new attendance record today. Because at one stage I was like 27, I think.
I saw 31 at one point.
Oh, wow. Okay, great.
Yeah, so because I remember popping to Do It Lives, and I remember seeing like 15 is kind of like typical. So I saw 31, I was like, yes, we did it good.
This is the first time I've been able to attend because I work on Saturdays, and I had today off, so I'm happy I got to come. This was really cool.
Yeah, it probably helped that today is a holiday.
And we were lucky that you could come as well, Judy.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Ben.
So is it already New Year's for everyone? No.
No, not yet. It's, well, half the world. No, that'll be in an hour and a half, and half the world will be in the new year.
Not even 6 p.m. here in New York City.
Yeah, It's only just now getting to 3:30. Out here in the wild desert heat of Phoenix. Oh no, it's only 60 degrees. Oh man.
Wow, what a great way to get the new year going.
Oh yeah, this was a phenomenal idea once I got it all together.
You guys did well.
Yeah, and then one thing I will say just for the fun of it is that the excerpt from the book that I read, the way that I did it was not at all planned. In the 2 dress rehearsals that Sabrina and I did earlier today, it was just me, reading from the book with, I took a picture of the page to use as a reference, because I wanted to do something like the book cam just because it's so cool, it's so neat, but the problem was I couldn't find a way to make it work, because I have 2 webcams, but I have nothing to prop the second webcam up, and it was like, look at the desk, like there's nothing to put it here. Then separately I have the tripod with the camera that I've got, but the camera wasn't wanting to talk to the computer in the right way, and then it was, oh yeah, just put the frickin' webcam. Duct
tape and a ruler.
Yeah, duct tape and a ruler. What I've done is just the webcam is just on the tripod as intended, and also camp light.
Yeah, like that.
And it's just, I was putting that together while everybody was talking, sitting in the room together. I was getting that together.
Yeah, that was a great part too. I mean that the reference that you had, oh man, that was a beautiful one, man. Well done, just well done across the board.
Yeah, and I absolutely love the way that I was able to use the fact that it was a metaphor about pearls, and that the main antagonist is Queen Pearl, and just that segue, pull back. It was beautiful.
And how the I for irritation, that was really excellent. And I often use something very similar to that when this last couple of years and the world turned upside down. I would say the upside is they provided the grit for my pearl of great wisdom. So thank you, controllers and parasites. Something positive at least may have come out of it, but I just wanted to give a special thank you to you, Cody, and you, Sabrina. You guys were excellent. And also to Julianne. I was blown away by her magnificent artwork. I mean, phenomenally talented. And then to hear her say that she cried because she didn't like the way that the wolf or fox's face looked, and she continued, she persisted. I had an issue where I would just stop, okay, I guess this is not for me, and then put it away. And so to hear somebody that young be that mature and convey that wisdom, and it hit me like a ton of bricks. So Julian, thank you. Thank you very much, and Happy New Year, everybody.
Yeah, Happy New Year. And then, it really was the perfect exemplification of the idea of, persistence despite resistance. It's just, and of course there's some topics that you couldn't get to in a 2-hour do our podcast, where, Phoenix had the video that he showed in the media productions room 3 weeks ago, something like that. Whereas, it was the persistence despite resistance video. And it was just beautiful. And yeah, with Julianne's, that, she was, she cried on making that painting because it wasn't the way she wanted to do it, but she did it anyways. Like, yeah, I was just clipping that together, this morning of just, making that quick little reel. And just, it was yeah, right in the feels.
And what a fascinating insight she brought by realizing that in order to do the next painting, she has to finish the current painting in order to acquire the skills to go to the next elevator, like level or whatever. I thought that was fascinating.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be something that I'm going to have to use in my book because I'm getting stuck in the first couple of chapters, and I put chapters 0 through 4 into an encrypted zip file with the password "move on," and then made PDFs so that I can go back to and look at if I need to like fact check something. But stop tweaking it already. And of course, already I have 2 ideas for small scene adjustments to make.
And the whole show, how everything started with Onyx's improv was, that just set the tone for the rest of the show. It was brilliant.
Yeah, it was the perfect example of this is do it live. We're doing it live.
Yeah, so spontaneity and creativity. I was like, oh man, like that is just such a great model for everyone. Just do it. Still felt
Lots of bravery and inspiration on show tonight.
So who's Julianne's new team to help her bring her offer to market? Because I think she could pre-sell, right? She just needs a couple of photos of her work on a page with a link to send her money, and then you get some sort of file or you get some sort of print in the mail, and she's got a bucket to go to the river whenever she wants, because people love art and they love their children, and they need good things like that they're not selling at Target or Amazon. If people knew, they would buy from you. That's my point.
Are there any freedom? Are there any free? Sorry, Michael. I was just asking if anyone knows of any freedom-friendly payment services, because I really despise PayPal.
Zelle is not terrible. I don't know a ton about it though, but it's an option, and they don't do the 3% fee or whatever.
Van, the other answer to your question is Dan Bongino started a new company. I don't know what it's called, but Tim Pool, you switched over PayPal to that company. And so they're like a PayPal alternative for the freedom community. What's it called? I don't know. They haven't done enough branding work on me for me to remember what it's called, but I know who made it and what it's supposed to do.
What's his name again?
Dan Bongino. Now, he's an interesting character because he's like a news commentator. He used to work in Trump's Secret Service, and then he was kind of like a whistleblower, and then he got on to like make his own personal media platform, and then he saw this opportunity. So I don't know who backs him, or like if they're worse than PayPal. Like if you're going from PayPal to directly doing it with the Secret Service, like I don't know what's going on, but right? Seriously, I don't know. Like
Align pay.
If we're cutting out the middleman that used to block me from the people spying on me, I don't like that. So PayPal could be good. But if this is like not that, then it could be even better than PayPal.
As long as Peter Thiel is not involved, it's a good start.
Peter Thiel's, those guys are involved in everything though. Like the internet's brought to us by the Defense Department. So it's, it is what it is. Use it for freedom while we can.
Amen.
It's like there's a need. There's a need that has gone unfilled.
Yeah.
That's our group.
That's entrepreneurism. We like freedom. It needs some maintenance, and part of that maintenance is us learning how to bring our offers to market.
Richard, is it that simple to just take a photo with a camera and then submitting it to one of those web platforms that you mentioned to get it digitize it?
Oh, I mean, okay, so like I'm trying to remember. Go to like what's it called? Snapfish, or Photo Bucket. Photo Bucket's the more popular one, right? So you can take any of your photos and you can go to Photo Bucket and you can print out big canvases. And if you get on their email list, they send you like good specials. I never used to pay full price for anything. I haven't printed any of my photos for a couple years because I haven't taken photos in a couple years with my good cameras. But I used to get prints like at one of those two places. And so what Julianne could do is watermark her pictures, put them on her site in small resolution so people can make an informed decision if they want that. And then she has the original digitals and she orders and, you know, ships too, that place becomes like a drop shipper for her.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm pretty sure, like, let's think this another step through because it's worth it, right? Because we'll all be proud of this business when we see it running. Getting an outpost on Etsy, right? That's going to put you in front of a market of people that are waiting to spend money on prints. And they, you know, if you do a print in a frame, that's one thing. But when you print it on canvas and you know, it looks nice. And, you know, it's already made to hang on the wall and stuff like that. So there's a lot of good options there. And she doesn't need a lot of paintings to start. She just needs a couple that would be popular with people. And I could see people buying 2 or 3 of those together easily.
Especially if the copyright, you know, the story is there as well on the website or landing
And then
page.
if she just thinks, and then if she just thinks it through another step, and this meeting's recorded for you, so don't feel pressure to take notes, but I'm just live streaming through my head right now. So then the next step is children have 4 walls. So maybe you make a north, south, east, west with animals or something like that's useful and educational and art at the same time, right? Because if you mix your educational aspect with art, even if it's just like ABC or something, like parents buy that stuff. And right now parents are forced to buy stuff from places that are like big box stores. So all the kids have exactly the same stuff and it's boring, right? So parents who like are looking for something different or better than that, they would jump at an offer like this. Especially then, right before the holidays, you run some specials. And that's where you leverage your autonomy education, you do a little marketing. You have a little bit, oh, they clicked on this. Let's have an ad follow them a couple clicks so that they see it again and they'll think of it again so they don't lose it in their mind. Like we could apply all this stuff and this would be a good kickstart where you bootstrap yourself with what you already have.
Yeah.
Another thing you can do is go back to that art gallery person that she, you know, had her little display and talk to them about G clay printing because it's a totally different kind of printing and that's the high level printing that artists use. So you can just go to one of those places online that, you know, takes your photos and puts them on to something like a canvas, or you can do the high level art stuff, which I don't know what it is, but you want to talk to an art person about it because you wouldn't want to flood the market with cheap stuff if you're planning on doing the other later, I would think, because it would confuse the market.
This is really good advice, Chris. Thank you.
Yeah, there could be two separate markets for that as well. Also, Shutterfly, Julianne, does something similar to Photo Bucket as well that can do the transfers onto Canvas, and they do a really good job.
Now, let's say I want something special. I need a special gift, and I give you a couple months' notice. Then she can produce a customized painting, but make a video along with it. Because this is something I used to do. I used to make a painting, and then I would film creating that painting and the layers that I put on it. And then when I would give it to somebody, I would, you know, I didn't sell my work. I have had people buy my work, but I usually just gave it away as a gift because it was an investment of my time. It was something personal, right? So then I would make like video clips of the development of that. And then when they show it to people, they can be like, here, check this out. This is how it was created, right? Because when people get something that they want to share with their friends, it helps to have that useful piece of media with it, right? That explains the concept and the process or whatever. That's something she could also easily do.
And how would you do that, Richard? Would you time lapse it, or have something set up so that it's filming you the whole time?
Yeah, I mean, you could film. It depends on like what you're like. If you have a hard drive hooked up to it, just film the whole thing, and then jump cut to the interesting parts and cut everything else out that you don't need. Or you could say like, here's blank canvas, here's first strokes, here's like, okay, that first layer is done, I'm going to let it dry. Then you come back the next day and you do the next thing and you let that dry. So it's over, you know, a series of days or weeks that you're making something like that. I did probably the biggest painting I did, it was like, I don't know, 4 feet by 3 or 4 feet. It was like maybe 5 feet by 4 feet. It was a big painting. And it was, Picasso had done a charcoal of Don Quixote in the Bull Arena. And I thought that was a cool charcoal sketch. What would it look like if I painted it in color? And then I made it, it was all like red and orange and yellow with the sun going down. And I ended up giving it to a buddy of mine for a gift. And then he passed away. And now who knows where that painting went. I'll find a picture of it, so it's not just you guys talking about art. Here, I'll walk you in and show you a painting I did.
Richard, the true Renaissance man. I had no idea you painted as well. That's so cool.
Let's see.
Well, I had no idea you could speak Japanese, Jal.
Yeah, brought out all kinds of talents today on this. Do it live.
Here, that's Picasso during his blue period. That's called The Old Man with the Guitar. And then I keep it next to my old man guitars.
Awesome. So much talent here.
Yeah. Richard, you play guitar as well? Like,
No, I had the aspiration to start playing guitar, so I had a couple lessons with. I had lessons for a couple years with a couple different teachers, and then I was at a time when if I wanted a guitar, I could just buy one because I was like, oh, I want a 12 strings. I'll just go buy a 12-string guitar, right?
wow.
So I accumulated guitars faster than my talent allowed, and then because I didn't want the real type of guitar education where you can't play a song for 2 years because they're teaching you notes and scales and it's boring. So I quit that teacher and I went to an outcome-based guitar teacher where he would teach me 3 songs in an hour, and it's just chords, you know, here's the chords of this song. So I can play songs using chords, but I don't understand the notes or the chord structure. Like, I don't know what I'm doing, but I can like be a monkey and make music. So when Jordan Page taught his guitar course, I think it was last summer, I was in that for a couple weeks, but then he assigned like a homework assignment of 12 scales you had to learn in a week. And I was like, there's no way, bro. Like, you should assign 1 scale per week and make us practice that thing, not give us, it was overkill. And then I ended up going to Pork Fest and not following through. So I still have, you know, aspirations, but I also have priorities, and guitar doesn't really move any of my other goals forward. So it's like something I do when I, you know, have nothing else to do.
Well,
I played a couple months ago.
I'd like to get on the list, Richard, whenever you finish the George Washington, few men can withstand the offer of the highest bidder. I'm saying it wrong.
Yeah, I mean, basically my painting and my guitar playing progress stopped when I learned about all this other stuff going on. And then I was like, oh, what am I doing? Like, my painting or, you know, any of this type of stuff that I was doing for hobbies, like, that wasn't going to really be the thing. So I set those aside and started doing the stuff I needed to do. Read up on these fools.
Yeah, well, Richard, I also bought a guitar not too long ago, and I can relate to the overwhelm, and I didn't even get as far as, you know, playing a few songs. I just struggled with 2 notes, and my fingers do not want to do what my brain is telling it to do. So
that's just, so it's a practice thing. And that is one thing I got after some lessons was like, oh, this feels really awkward, but if I practice for an hour with this guy, I can do these things. I can't do it. Like, the guy who trained me was a professional musician for like commercials and advertisements, and he could play anything off the top of his head, from classical to anything. And he was a virtuoso. He was a little limited in probably some of his other social aspects because he had spent so much time playing guitar in his life. But like, this is the thing he knew how to do, and he knew how to put an offer at the bodega on a piece of paper that said guitar lessons $50 an hour, right? So he barely knew how to make his offer, but I spent a lot of money with that guy. And it was good times. So yeah, just keep trying, Van. And Like it's still magical and mystical to me. And if I sit down and play guitar if I can't get something off my mind. If I have trouble getting a clear head, which is rare, but if I sit down and play guitar, it forces me to totally concentrate on that thing, and I can't think of anything else.
Interesting.
So it's like a good mind clearing exercise.
Yeah, that's why I picked up juggling. It's a simple thing you just do in the real world, gets the body moving, forces your eyes to defocus because you can't track each individual ball. You gotta, defocus and take the bigger picture. Which when you're standing on a screen all day, you need to defocus every once in a while.
Interesting, because some of the greatest mathematicians of days gone by, they used to all play musical instruments, specifically violins. So that's very interesting.
Well, music is mathematics, but also they didn't have much choice in what they could do back then. Pianos are big and hard to carry around. Violins are pretty easy. They're made of wood.
You could bring a melodica along with you, and that uses pretty similar. You can't do two hands with a melodica very easily.
Yeah, well, it was really nice to see so much talent on the showcase, in the autonomy community. And there's definitely a lot of hidden talents in this community. I love it. I love discovering it.
Yeah, I was impressed by the adults. You guys are all impressive. But Julianne and Daniela, the animations and stuff like that, between the art, the painting, the oil on canvas, and then the digital art, it's like old time animation. I'm got a lot more optimism for the future. 'Cause we need people who are creative and know how to make their offer to the world before you get caught up in the college game. I still got people around me trying to go to college. I'm like, what are you doing? It's like saying I'm gonna take my car and crash it into a tree. Like nothing good's coming from that. Nothing good's coming from that. Didn't you see It's a Wonderful Life? It all turns to Potterstown from there.
Richard, I've written a play about what happens to three people who went to university. I'd love for you to read it if you're interested.
I am interested. I'm tight on time. Do you have a deadline when you need feedback?
No, I actually don't have any kind of deadline. So when works for you, works for me.
All right, cool. You can DM it to me in the Autonomy forum, but then I have an assignment for you.
Okay.
There is a play that's made into a movie, but it was written as a play, I believe. And it's called The American Ruling Class. And the director's name is John Kirby. And it was made probably 2003. And it has Kurt Vonnegut and Louis Lapham, I think, was the writer of it. And it's got some actors in there. And it's like a mockumentary. It's like a theatrical presentation of that which exists without being able to show you really what they're talking about, but they get enough of it in there to make the points. And I think it might be inspiring for you.
Thank you so much.
And Richard, I know you touched upon, your priorities and, guitar and finishing the book is not your priority right now, but
finishing the book is more of a priority than painting or guitar. So that tells you.
Okay.
The list of things I can't get my hands on.
I wish I could pull some strings in your mind and make you also prioritize a course for your ability to recall things, because there's no price that I wouldn't pay to understand how you're able to just pull names out of your head at will, because you just did it again now.
How do I do it? How is it teachable? Sounds valuable though.
Yeah.
Well, Richard, when you built the brain though, that I'm sure that had to spur some
I think
memories,
it's the mixture of reading, taking some notes, and building the brain model at the same time. Right? Those 3 points of contact, just like climbing a mountain. Right, it gives you that one limb free to climb with, but you're holding on with these 3 parts while you're climbing, so you're able to move across information without losing your grip on it. Whereas I think most of the time when people don't file and write these things down and look these people up as they're reading, they get lost because you don't have any data to attach to that folder, so you throw the folder away mentally.
Like I said, I know.
That could be a good course. Do you have a title for it too?
No, the Richard Grove brain model. I don't know, but
brain power. We need brain power.
Yeah, like that would be a no-brainer course for me. I would, yeah, I would, because I don't know how you do it. It's like even actors in movies and movie titles, and you know
music. My brain. You know what it was, Van? Back in the 80s, they had that Trivial Pursuit game.
Yep.
And I went through and practically memorized all that useful information. And then I realized, like, being smart in that game with your friends is not the same as being smart in life, and the information in that game's useless. And then I stopped doing stuff like that. So part of it is, I don't know, just paying attention, cognizing what you see, like the comprehension part, I guess can be a struggle for people, but comprehension gets so much easier when you got more points of contact, right? Like if you want to tell me some story about the JFK files, I got thousands of points of information on that topic. Let's see how yours fit in, right? So I have a better chance of actually understanding and comprehending that than people who can't fit government might be corrupt in their brain. Like that's a 25 megabit idea, but they're running on an 8 megabit chip, and they're like, that doesn't compute. And I'm like, I understand. I was there once too, but you can grow. You can outgrow your status quo.
I just honestly think that, you know, autonomy is extremely valuable, and, you know, but I can see a course like that, you know, outstripping Benny Wills's, you know, $100,000 or whatever. I don't know what the $100,000, if what the 100,000 mark was, if it was dollars or number of courses, but probably dollars. But this course for memory, I think, can really blow things apart. I honestly think that this will be the biggest thing you'll ever do.
Well, I think we need to clip Van saying all that and use it as a promo for that new course.
Sounds like a plan to me.
There you go. Cody's on it. Because if we already got one workshop I haven't written, let's launch more.
All right, I'm going to stick this in my ongoing projects notes.
So Richard, you're going to do like every 3 months, you're going to do one of these kind of intro courses?
Yeah, it sounds like the next one's going to be on brain power.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah, I was just thinking that, you know, Gatto's 14 themes there, you know, that the elite school curriculum has that the regular school system doesn't. To a large degree, it is like, you know, building a library in your mind versus, you know, just throwing books in a room. That's kind of the way that, you know, the education system is created. You know, most people's, you know, as far as categorizing their information that they're gathering, is just, they just have no method, and because of that, you know, the memory is going to hell. I mean, I just posted that thing about the attention economy, and, you know, how bad like the smartphones and the dopamine hits and all these other kind of things are just killing people's short-term memory, but then they're not anchoring anything in their memory when they're not even doing their short-term. So then their long-term memory is just shot too, and they just don't remember anything.
Yeah, and the gist is, like, you can watch 100 things in a week and not have anything to take forward with you. Or you could watch like 5 things this week or 3 things this week with intention, taking some notes and putting it in a brain model, and you'll have that forever. So it's quality over quantity. And what you could do is, like, you could watch a movie. Let's pick one out. The Minds of Men by Aaron and Melissa Dykes. I mean, that's heavy duty. It's like 3 hours probably. But if you watch that, take notes, and then look up each thing in the history blueprint, and like pause the movie, read about it. Oh, this guy, this is Ewan Cameron. He worked at McGill University. Like, you'll remember all that stuff. You're building neurons when you're making a brain model. Now, if you're just clicking through mine and reading, I think you could probably do the same thing, right? But the connections are the understanding from reading everything that's in there. So the connections, I have the connections. You can get the connections by reading what's in there, and then you understand, oh, this person influenced this person, and this person did this project. Right. So
The
If that
neurons
were to
that fire
work,
together. Sorry,
yeah,
go ahead.
if that works, we have a prototype, and we got a test use case right there.
The
Oh, I
neurons
would
that
also.
fire together wire together. Sorry, Michael.
Oh, go ahead.
That's
Yeah.
what it is. It's comprehension. Exactly what you said, Richard, to Van. It's about the comprehension. If you're not comprehending it, it's not going to stick. It's just a data point that flashes by like a traffic light.
Yeah.
I was just going to say our you know, our do it lives are kind of like prototypes for other kind of presentations. I think. I mean, I think if you put this in front of people right as it is, it's probably going to blow their minds. So I mean, I think this is a great prototype for a presentation as well. I mean, this is the cutting edge of autonomy, if you ask me.
Well, that's good. We got Q1 mindset and goal setting, Q2 brain power, Q3 Gatto's 14 points. We just have to figure out something for Q4, and we're done for the next year. Look at this progress at a meeting that wasn't even supposed to be a progress.
Yeah, it wasn't supposed to be a meeting. Well, it certainly came to my idea. You know, Sabrina and I were having, you know, meeting after meeting, you know, to get our Do It Live going. And you know, I think it was Sabrina that said that. How does Richard do Grand Theft World where it's 7 hours, where we're taking like 10, 15 hours to plan out 2?
Practice.
Yeah, practice is
It
practice.
used to take me. I mean, it used to take me an obscenely long time to do anything 10 years ago. You know, if you watch if you watch What You've Been Missing, I think the beginning or the ending, it took like 20 takes. I threw the TV off the counter like 10, 15 times. I had a clothes basket with some pillows in it, you know, and then I would just throw the TV off the counter, and then that take didn't work. Let me get the TV back up here and let's try it again. And it feels super awkward, not only because you have to do this thing in front of a green screen and you're talking to a teleprompter, but you know you're doing it in your basement, and you should be doing it in a legit TV studio where you could feel normal about such things, you know? Like if I'm on $100,000 stage and there's a green screen and a teleprompter, I feel like, oh yeah, this is where it's supposed to happen. When you're in your basement working with like cathode ray TVs hooked up to like the cameras, and nothing's good quality, you know, it's all just kind of duct taped together and stuff, and like, you know, shop lamps from Home Depot lighting the green screen. Yeah, man, I came up from the streets, you know. So I learned how to do it on no budget, and then you get budget over time. And you're like, I could buy real lights. Woohoo! I used to film gigs just to buy equipment. I have a jib crane. I have all sorts of stuff I don't even use anymore. Sliders that I would just go film a band for 6 hours on a Steadicam vest and set up a couple cameras on tripods and, you know, cut the footage together for a week, and then I get $5,000.
No ways.
And I get those offers all the time, and I've turned them down for the past 5 or 6 years. I don't think I've filmed something since like 2014, 2015 for somebody else. Yeah, see? So it's good to know you can, but you don't have to. But I should hire a camera crew to use the equipment I have and take up those leads and make that money. But I got lots of stuff to do.
Yeah, that certainly would be a good idea to use the equipment you got.
I know. I've needed a camera crew locally for a long time, but
maybe that's your Q4.
How to train a camera crew?
Just getting it done.
Yeah, get it done. Well, when you meet the right people that are trainable, it's easy to train people, and you know, you gotta find the right people.
I had a thought about Q4, which would be creating joy or creating from joy, because I know it can be difficult when we take on all this information. Yeah, exactly, Cody.
Yeah, as soon as I heard the title of this book, Take Joy on Reading, I was like, I need this book. I need it.
Wow.
Yeah, that could be the right inspiration at that time of year.
Wow. No, I just feel so incredibly blessed to have found this community. So I just wanted to put it out there. Thanks so much, guys. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that you're in charge of that project because you came up with it. So you'll be checking in with me to see when it gets done, right?
Yeah, and I'll be checking in with you when I get that clip from Van.
Yeah, right, Cody. That's the rule, right? Like when people come up with good ideas, I put them in charge of those ideas. I don't have time to take on more responsibilities. Let me know when it needs to be done. I'll show up at the meeting.
Yeah, and also kind of waving around to take joy. The idea I had for Q4 is how to process a book, how to read with intent, essentially. Because I found some blog online or whatever that says that there's 4 levels of reading. If you're reading this webpage, you can do level 1, and level 2 is something that most people are able to. If you're able to pick up a book, read it front to cover, and say a few things about it, which is most everybody, you can do that, or maybe people read it. But anyways, but it mentioned that going through a book multiple times, where your first time you go through it, you just read it, you take some fact notes of just what it says without checking in on what it's saying, and then you go through the book a second time, leaving your notes in the margins, with the quote on, writing in the margin is the best compliment you can give to an author, something to that effect. Then with the highlighting and the tabs, and just how to read a book with intention. Because I've started dedicating an hour of time a day, which has been slipping, but I've been trying to dedicate an hour of time a day to reading, and I'm starting to wonder how useful is that time being.
Well, it depends on what you're trying to do. Because let's face it, most people read a book and they don't remember too much about it. So it's a lot of time invested for very little outcome. A lot of times for people, right?
Right.
So I think the first part is, how do you select a book that's worth reading in its entirety, right? And then when's the time and place to read that book, right? I mean, if it's a leadership book, you could read it and apply these things today, right? But I have 10 books upstairs that just came in, and it's what order do I need to read these books, right? Because if I read the MK Ultra book too soon, and then a couple weeks from now I need to talk about it, and it's not what I'm reading. So I want to pace my reading with what's in front of me as far as news and stories and things like this. So at least I have useful context and a reason for internalizing that information. And then from there, I would go to the index. Well, first off, I have a specific reason to buy each book, right? So there's something in there I'm looking to get out of it, and not just the overall story.
Oh, you muted yourself.
That was Jordan Page calling. He knocked me out of the call. All right, thank you. All right, so you buy a book because you know there's something in it you need, right? There's a need to be fulfilled. So then you go to the index, you find out what's in the book, and is it something you need to read in its entirety? And then all those ways that Cody just said to read a book, I do those all at the same time, because I don't have time to go back and reread books. Too many books to read. So
Wouldn't that be nice?
I could find a shorter book, and we could go, I could make a video and we could go through it, and here's how I would eat this book, right? Because I can eat a book like people eat a meal. In a couple hours, boom, I got that. And I got more retention from that than somebody who spends a week or two reading every word in the book and doing their thing. So I go for the overall outcome of the experience and the usability, right? If I have a book and I know where the thing is I have to know where the thing is, and then how and when to marshal that content.
Yeah, how do you do that?
I don't know. I start with topic, and then once we're in that topic, I know the 20 books I've read in that area, and then there's another piece over, if you wanted a piece about the National Education Association and the Trojan Horse in American Schooling, there's a Samuel Blumenthal book, right? There's only so many books in these areas that are notable, and they give you a little piece of the puzzle. And so I have a picture of the whole puzzle put together in my head. Oh, we want to look at that piece. We're going to need Charlotte Iserbyt's book, and somewhere in that 700 pages, she talks about the 1934 Blue Book, and how they changed our education system into an international schooling type of thing. And then, they merged that with UNESCO going forward.
Yeah, man, that course is dearly needed.
All right, so round up some people that want to be in that course, and we'll do that course.
Oh, I could get 20 people tomorrow for you.
All right, well, you call Stephanie and get it on my calendar then. Make it happen.
I'm first in that line there, Van.
There you go.
I'll teach some brain power, because some of it is just you guys asking questions and me answering those questions that's going to give you the brain power. right? So you can, well, we'll develop it on the fly. Because you could go through, like I would start with, okay, what's his name wrote the How to Read a Book, Mortimer Adler, right? And so I have that on CD. I have the audio version of that. And if you go through the 6 ways to read a book, it's like you don't need to do all 6 ways to every book. And very rarely do you need to do any of that stuff, right? You're looking for what? Reference to pass on knowledge to somebody else? Then you don't need much more than that. Right? I don't have to remember everything in David Rockefeller's memoirs if I can point you to page 408 on the right-hand page under where he says proud internationalist, and there's the paragraph. Like, that's it. That's the money shot of the whole book. Like, I don't know. I don't care about his upbringing or his tutelage at Dartmouth and, Hayek and all these. Okay, that's all interesting. But the big part of this book for history and American freedom is this part where they say they've been actively working to undermine it. And that's the start of people saying, oh, it's not a conspiracy theory. It's a fact. Yes. Okay, let's go forward. Or maybe it's page 405. See? It's not a perfect memory, but it's good enough to get started.
Yeah, and I could probably look that up for you real quick. It's in my video editor.
Yeah. All right. Cool. I'm very excited about that because that could change the world. When you're actually able to recite things in a historical context when you're speaking to people and sound authoritative. Oh man, you would be able to change people so much easier. Not change them, but influence them and show them the truth.
Well, you also have to be able to take them on that journey. So you can't just say, you're wrong, these people are internationalists. You have to say, well, that's fascinating you believe that. I wonder if any of these people ever, wrote it down and what they had to say. And they probably didn't. Well, if they did, would you take that seriously? Well, yeah, I'd take it seriously because it doesn't exist, right? You get them to commit to the edge of their illusion. And then you're like, let me bring in something that broadens your reality, my friend.
Yeah.
Like if I, if I really knew that Jimmy Savile was the godfather of the royal family and, they covered up this thing over at BBC. If that was really true, then I'd think less of the royal family. And I'd be like, here you go. Look, you guys are all in it. They're all in it to win it. So yeah, so you have to be able to engage people in a conversation and show interest. Like, I'm interested because I might be wrong on any of these topics. They might have the trump card and I won't know until I ask the right questions, right? So I'm always looking to improve my intellect and my body of knowledge. And you can't do that if you always assume you're right and try to beat people over the head with a fact. So you have to say, what makes you think that? Or my favorite is, that's a fascinating hypothesis. Can you explain to me how you came to that conclusion? And then I sit down and pour a beer. Let's have it. Tell me how you learned that.
That sounds like another course.
Yeah,
intellectual self-defense. Richard Grove's intellectual self-defense. That's
Q4. Boom.
Outlines.
I thought Q4 was how to read a book. That's Q1 of 2024.
How about?
Maybe we're gonna have to do them every 2 months. We got too many topics.
Yeah, we can mine ideas all day.
Autonomy is going to slip to only annual instead of biannual.
No, these are all good ideas. I'm writing these down, taking it seriously.
Yeah, good. All right.
You reach that conclusion.
And anyways, so back when we were talking about the brain model, that reminded me that I went and did this is my sheet of all the characters in my book. And
it's pretty super nerdy.
Where the relationships are. And just her brain model, I'm like, oh, that's what I did. And then this little quick sheet that I threw together in 2 minutes to make a point to my mom about how few characters there are in my book. Because there's really not that many, And that's what I got. I got kind of version 1 of a brain model for my book on paper.
Yeah, I just think it's incredible, Richard, that you're at this stage where you can turn down jobs that's very profitable, and you've obviously learned this technique of going down to the river and scooping, and from this unlimited source, which is where I want to get.
Yeah, I learned it knocking on doors and asking if they need their house painted. And once I learned to do that, I was like, there's unlimited money out here in the market. I just have to knock on doors. This is wonderful. And that's what I mean by, like, my bucket was my offer. The river was their door. And there's endless doors out there to knock on with your offer. Now, that's the hardest way to do it. And I learned that. And I got really good at it. No one told me it was the hardest. It was just like, no one told me it was supposed to be hard for people. And I just went and did it. And I was like, when you go to a real company that has like telesales, they want you to cold call. I'm like, oh, I don't even have to walk to the next door. I can do 10 of these in a minute. Woo! So yeah, once you build up your resistance working like the legit skill, then all the other things you have to do are super easy. So the hardest interviews I ever did were for what you'll hear about this next Friday's lecture. And like that, like it was tougher doing franchise entrepreneurism in college than it was working in corporate society. Other than what I did during college, there was no ethical immoralities going on, whereas the corporate world was a bunch of cheaters. $1 billion cheaters. And with that, I'm going to tap out because I'm going to have dinner here with the family. But this has been a really productive conversation, and I'll look to see if I can tap in later for this New Year's Eve party.
Woot woot, and I'll definitely be there.
Thank you, Richard. Thank you, everybody. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year's.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. I could bring up the clip again if we needed to play it.
Yeah, Happy New Year's, guys. See you
Thanks,
guys later.
everybody.
Hopefully.
Bye.
Bye.
Yep. Bye, everyone.
Well done, Cody and Sabrina.
Yeah. Thank you, Van.
Amazing. Yeah. Well done.
Thank you. Got any last thoughts you want to say, Sabrina, for the recording?
No, just thank you for letting me co-host with you. I know you probably took a big risk. You didn't know me, and it took a lot of, trust. I really appreciate it. It's been a really fun process. It's been fun.
Yeah, it was fun putting this together, and what we wanted to do kind of evolved slowly over time. Because I remember at first wanting to do a big section at the start of a retrospective on the history, and we didn't get around to that at all because we wanted to do what people are building.
Yeah, it's been definitely like a creative process itself of that morphing and everything. Yeah.
And I had a lot of fun building it together, and I had a lot of fun in this after party meeting essentially.
It was experience. Yeah, thank you. And forward to hearing more about your book. Posted what's going on.
Yeah, and when I'm getting pretty close to having the first part of the book, having a second draft of the first part of the book, done and complete, which would be enough that I could, reach out to some people, for a first in line to this idea, because I wanna write the entire book and to publish it, but the rough draft of the first part, second draft of the first part, all polished up and nice, would be a good addition to have.
Exciting! Congratulations on reading it. Olivia, I don't know if you're still here. You must be so proud. Anyways, yay to us, we did it!
Yeah, we did it! Round of applause.
All the stress was worth it!
Yeah, all the stress was worth it, especially that day that I was gonna just frickin' blow up on Wednesday.
You were not having it, you're like...
Yeah, that was...
sleep deprived and yeah, way too much going on, but we made it through.
Yep, made it through. Persistence despite resistance, and I finally figured out what my theme for the next year is. Because New Year's resolutions are stupid. But the idea of a theme of the year on the thing that you want to focus on, which for me is the year of discipline, will be 2023. 2022 is the year of creativity. I think we nailed that.
Yeah. Have some things I want for sure. a lot of different ideas were popping off in my head too. I was like, oh, you know, when Honest was talking about her improv stuff, I was like, oh, that'd be fun to do like a little playwriting thing, and then like actually do like a live theater, but on Zoom, like with people. You know,
That could
like
be fun.
yeah, like if you had someone do a playwright and some actors, and then you actually had an audience come and see, like, you know, do a little show, like that could be fun.
Yeah, it could be real fun.
All right, Cody. Well, have a good evening. I don't know if I'll come to the party, but I'll try to stop by if I can.
Sweet. And yeah, I'll pop out of the party after only an hour because I have my sweet bedtime to get to. But
All right. Well, I'll see you on Tuesday.
yep, we'll see you on Tuesday. And we've got a big big success report on Tuesday.
Oh, we do.
Report to success.
I think a lot of people were there anyways. Like, Aaron,
It's good to say it in the meeting anyways.
yeah.
You know, but then I still have to do that retrospective, which, okay, we are doing the retrospective in the journal now. That is the next thing we're doing after I go to the bathroom.
All right, Cody. Thank you again. Have a good night.
Have a good night. Bye-bye.